Surviving 1000 days in hardcore Minecraft is not easy. But during that time, I can build illegal farms that get me bedrock items, infinite notch apples, control the weather, and obtain unlimited netherite. And by the end of this 1000 day journey, I went from 7,000 to 8,000 days in my world. To pull this off, I must successfully complete 3 phases. Firstly, build a bedrock factory so that I have somewhere to put all of the bedrock that I get. Then I must downgrade my world to 1.12 without corrupting or deleting chunks. Last time I did this, I completely broke my spawn area and lost a load of precious items. But this time, I've come up with new tricks and methods to stop that from happening. And then phase 3, build a farm that allows me to obtain bedrock over and over and over again. I'm not going to use a snapshot because those are just buggy messes that are not official releases. Although before all of that, to get loads of bedrock, I need loads of feathers. I'll explain why later. So for that, I'm going to have to build a chicken farm. Here's all the items that I'm going to need, as well as a whole lot of chicken eggs. Thankfully, I spent a long time forcing all of these guys to lay eggs for me. Look at that, I nearly got 5 stacks straight away. And there's loads and loads and loads more in this chest right here. I mean, look at them all. Yeah, eggs are definitely something that I probably have too many of. Also, there is still some of my 7,000 days posters for sale. They're on sp737.store, and I have signed every single one. So this is the spot that I'm going to build it. And the plan is, whilst I'm building the bedrock factory, this will be running in the background. You see, multitasking and efficiency, that's what it's all about. It's actually such a simple farm to build. Basically, it's going to be throwing out eggs that become chickens. The baby chickens won't be able to reach lava, but when they grow to adults, they'll burn. And I'll get cooked chicken and lots of feathers. So I'm just going to encase in where the chickens are going to go. And the final wall of them is not going to be glass. Instead, it's going to be trapdoors flipped up. Observers will detect when there's items in the hoppers. Next, I'm going to get my chickens in that are actually going to do the egg laying. So loads of them in here. Hopefully, I brought enough eggs for all this, because I want 24 in each slot, which is the maximum before entity cramming takes over. Okay, I ran out of eggs. They're still not entity cramming. Somehow to escape. Yeah, you guys can just enjoy life. 3 of you? All right, I have no idea. Anyway, I'm just going to head back home and grab loads and loads and loads and loads more eggs. All right, chickens, prepare to be overrun. At this point, new ones are starting to die, so I'll just start putting loads into this slot as well. And it looks like there's enough in here as well, because they're starting to die too. And now I must patiently wait for them all to grow up. This is going to take about 20 minutes. Looks like every single one has grown. I think we had a few casualties in the process from entity cramming, but it's not the end of the world. We're going to put these observers in, remove the dirt, and place redstone on top of the dispensers. And it's pretty much done. I just need to add a little bit of lava. And basically, every time a chicken lays an egg, it will send a signal to here, which will dispense the egg and summon lava so that if there's an adult chicken, it will die. If it's a baby chicken, it'll be fine. So because that's in spawn chunks, I can leave that running to get me loads and loads of feathers. And in the meantime, I can begin phase 1, which is to build the bedrock factory. It's going to take quite a lot of materials to build it, so I'm going to get busy gathering them all up. Once I have crafted this loom, I will have every single item for this project. My goodness, that took a long time. And whilst I was gathering up all of those items, my chicken farm will have been running in the background. So far, nearly 3 stacks of feathers. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but that's because eggs don't get laid that often, and not every egg is going to hatch to be a chick. And on top of that, it takes 20 minutes for a chick to grow up. Now, to build the bedrock factory, I'd actually like to expand in this direction. With all those buildings over there, I think it'd be cool to have some sort of factory district, maybe with more in the future. And so I'm going to put the very first one here, which means mining up quite a bit of this terrain. And that is that. It is now done. The factory is going to go right here. And before I continue, I need to repair this shovel, because I really don't want it to break. As you probably gathered, it takes a lot of materials to build, but to start with, I'm going to get some mud bricks and also light grey wool, plus a load of gravel, so that I can get started on the bottom outline. So this is the general shape so far, and this will have to go all the way around. And there we have it. The entire outer edge is done. Parts of the walls are going to be dirt, but it's all becoming grass blocks, so I better hurry up and build the layer on top of it. Although before that, we're going to have a bit of a checkerboard pattern for the floor. It's going to involve gravel and light grey wool. And this pattern is going to more or less cover the entire floor. And with that being placed down, it's starting to look a little bit more like a factory floor, but there's going to be a section that's got a different floor there and also a different floor there. And those items are iron blocks, red concrete, light grey concrete, stone brick stairs, and then finally a warning line kind of thing that alternates between black and yellow. I think it's starting to look pretty good. There'll be all sorts of machines over here, and there's going to be the same kind of thing over on this side. Perfect, and now with that all sorted, I can start expanding the walls upwards. I've reached the height of the walls where I'm doing the windows now, and I'm using scaffolding for that to give it that industrial feel, as I really want this to have a proper factory feel to it. Just a little progress update with how I'm getting on. It is now really starting to look like a factory from the inside. I'm liking it. The front and the sides are getting there too. They'll look better and better as these walls go up. But yeah, this inside really has that warehousey feel. And I feel like building up these walls is quite repetitive and not that interesting, which is why I'm not showing you much of it. Instead, it'll be adding all the contraptions on the inside that'll be the coolest bit. And so I'll continue building this up until the entire exterior is done. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a job well done. I might end up removing all the snow because it's a bit patchy, but we'll have to see. All I can say is right now, it's looking pretty good. And so now work can begin on the interior. I should probably start by getting rid of all this snow. I wish it had snowed after I built the roof. It's going to be very annoying with the gravel, but it must be done because I can't really have a factory that's just full of snow. Got quite a good technique because I know which one's gravel and which one's wool. I can go fast on the wool and slow when there's gravel. I've realized it's just going to be way quicker if I go ahead and place buckets and do it that way. Yeah, I don't know why I was manually mining up every single one, because this is 10 times faster. Mission accomplished. I'll chuck all the snow in here to go back to the storage. And first things first, in both this position and that position, there's going to be beacons, and the plan is for the beacon to look like a bit of a laser, a red one going into the bedrock. But the bedrock is going to go here like so, and because beacon beams go through bedrock, it'll look really, really good. I just can't quite build it yet because obviously I haven't got bedrock, you know, that's kind of important. But once I have it, I will sort it. In the meantime, I can add the cage that's going to go around this, because it's going to look like a chamber that's sealed off with glass. That's the foundation, and I'm going to build it up quite a bit. Before I add the iron block roof, I'm just constructing the laser, so it's going to kind of build outwards like, not like that. Although from down here, you can kind of see how it's looking. It's not looking very good. Hold on a second. Well, let's try and fly our way up. And yeah, from there, we're going to have blocks like this. So it's a bit more of a, I would say triangle, but that's not quite right. More like a cone shape. Oh, no, you know what? I'm getting this all wrong. Basically like that. And then over the top, I can add my iron blocks. That's that looking pretty good. And as a final touch, I'm going to add walls around the outside, then string in between with carpet on top. That's nicely done. It looks a little bit strange because there's no bedrock, but I'm just going to build the exact same thing over here. So in 3, 2, 1, and there we go. Also had a bit of decoration on the floor in the middle, so let's just kind of have redstone torches going up in a bit of a staircase like so. I do want one more here, but I'm worried that I can't quite reach the top. It's alright, we can build up and place that. Kind of looks like something you'd see in a factory. Anyway, something else that I want to do is to add a load of staircases around the thing. So I'm thinking for this, we do something like this, and it just keeps working its way up with iron bars like so. So you've got this kind of cool effect of a staircase with sides. That's a bottom layer done, and I'm also going to keep building it up like this. And now I'll add staircases on this side just for a bit of symmetry for over there that can also connect to this balcony. And from there, I can have 3 more staircases going up. And then over on this side, I'd like to add a staircase down there and a staircase down here to connect both sides. This side's looking good, and so is this one. Next, I want a crisscross of beams just to connect everything up, with lanterns hanging off the middle for decoration. Next, I'd like to tackle the bedrock waterfall. I feel like everybody who makes a factory does one of these, and I'm no exception. They just look very cool, and they're a very fun way to show off all your items. And the redstone is pretty simple to do too. So items are going to get pushed along the blue ice until they get to right here, and then they will go in a water elevator. This is going to have glass walls on all of the sides, and I can completely fill them to the top with water using kelp. Just one second, I need a little bit more water, just so that I can have these bits to flow the items through. Next, I can build the honey all the way up. Next, I need to be able to transfer a redstone signal upwards so that I can turn the machine on and off. So I'm going to use torches to do that, just alternating upwards to the top. So I've got to kind of build up with dirt, place it, then add torches, and do that all the way up. Now, at this point, the redstone's pretty straightforward. It involves droppers with target blocks in between. Then I need more water to fill up this area, because that is what is going to make the items flow into the honey. The redstone's easy enough, but anytime there's something in the dropper, it will set off this comparator and create a pulse to dispense it all. It's currently switched off because of the redstone torch at the bottom, but if I start running redstone from down here underground, I can connect it all up, and when I flip this lever, it will technically turn the machine on. For now, I'm going to have it switched off, just whilst I add the item collection system. This hopper minecart will split the items between the 2 droppers, and this extra water will send it into the system. Now I can turn on the machine, drop some items down here, and and watch them all flow downwards. Yes, it looks pretty cool. And here you can see how they get distributed out. Now I'll turn it off and go up here to grab my items because I will need them to build the rest of the factory. I was all just temporary until I have the bedrock to fill the machine. Speaking of machines, I'd like to build a cool conveyor belt system that goes right the way through the middle. It would be transporting TNT, since that's kind of one of the things you can use to break bedrock usually if you use a piston with it. And the bottom of the conveyor belt is going to be iron trapdoors with carpets on top. That's the general look of it. And then we could have a little processing section right here that's going to be built up to look like that. Then at the end of this, I'll have some containers with TNT in them. And over here, some sort of chest storage area. I'm also adding another decorational machine here that looks like it's processing more items. And I'll make another one of those over here that looks slightly different, but still very nice indeed. It'd be nice to have a little computer here that's attached to the lever that turns the bedrock on and off. Fantastic, the place is really starting to come together. And I'd just like to fill up this space on the ground, maybe with a couple of forklifts. That's one done, and also a second. I have to say, it is really starting to look like a good factory. There's a few things I've still got to do up here, such as add in an iron bar guardrail, and finally, a bedrock item art on the front. There we go. For some reason, I'm missing one block. I obviously can't count. But with that in, the bedrock's finished. I think it looks pretty good. And with that, phase 1 is now complete, which means we can move on to the second phase, the world downgrade. This is where I have to try and not break my world. So before I can change my world version to 1.12, I need to grab every single item I need for the bedrock farm. That means first heading to spawn and seeing just how many feathers I've got from the chicken farm. Okay. More than enough. To go with the feathers, I'm also going to need a whole lot of ink sacks, which I can obtain at the squid farm. That should be long enough. I only want 6 stacks, and I got way more. Along with those, I want 6 stacks of books, and all of those will be perfect for chunk safe stating, which I will explain later. I also need enough iron to craft 96 hopper minecarts, as well as the hoppers to go with them. It also requires many other items. I'm not going to go through every single one, but TNT is a big one, which I don't currently have enough of. I need about another 10 stacks, but I've got the sand, I've got the gunpowder, and that means I'll have the TNT. And from there, there's loads of redstone components, there's loads of blocks, so I shall gather up them all. The mission has been accomplished and almost everything that I need is now in here, except ender pearls. I need 1 ender pearl for every piece of bedrock that I'm going to get. So I've just got loads and loads of shulker boxes ready to fill. The enderman farm is definitely the best place to get them, because these chests are just completely full. Everything's been transferred, and when I downgrade to 1.12, every single netherite item that I have will get deleted. That includes my armor and anything netherite in the ender chest. So I'm going to do quite a bit of sorting to make sure no items I'm going to lose are brought, and I have plenty of stuff such as food, totems, and firework rockets. And this could be awkward. Last episode, I used up every single diamond that I have to make all of these smithing templates. So I'm going to head down to my diamond tunnel bore to mine up a load more of them. And with these 37, I can make diamond armor and tools with various upgrades on them. I've just used loads of levels up on upgrades, only to realize that when you downgrade to 1.12 or below, all enchants get removed. And a lot of items that I'm using to build the farm that I have in a test world also get deleted when you downgrade your game. So I'm instead going to change a bunch of items that I'll be using for the farm to ones that don't disappear. There we go. That took quite some time. And ink sacks also get deleted. So I need to craft book and quills and then paste a load of complex random characters in so that the book takes up lots of memory. Then I can name it and sign it, make a second one with more random pages that are different from the first book, and duplicate these in the crafting table using more book and quills. I'll explain why on earth I have these later, but now I am almost ready to downgrade my world. I'll swap out my tools and my armor, and if I just downgrade right now, no matter where I am in the world or what dimension I'm in, the spawn chunks will be loaded and overwritten with chunks generated in 1.12. So to avoid that, I'm going to go into the world save folder, then the region folder, and I'll select these 4 files. Then I right click, properties, and make them read only, but I am going to cancel it for now because I'm not quite ready to do the downgrade. But those 4 files hold the data for the spawn chunks, and making them read only will stop them from getting overwritten. The bedrock farm has to be built in the end, but if I create a test world, go to the end and TP to 2000 and save and quit, then when I load the same world in 1.12, it puts me at 2000 in the overworld. So I need to get to the end and corrupt as few chunks as possible. The way I'll do that is to fly to some very specific coordinates, because when you download a world, it also changes the seed to 0 on that version. So that allows me to know where the stronghold and different biomes will be. So I'll stand right here and wait for it to become day. There we go. Now I can save and quit, make the spawn regions read only, and load the world in 1.12. This will load me into a jungle biome with all of my items. And this is where I can get all the needed oak wood, cocoa beans, and jungle wood. Because all of those items get deleted when you downgrade, so I couldn't bring them with me from 1.20. Slime blocks are another one that get deleted, but slime balls don't. Oh, look at that, I collapsed. So the good news is I can now condense down my storage by turning all of these into blocks. And that is every single one crafted. And so now I'll just get to work collecting more wood. And you also notice that I've set the game to render distance 2. That's just so I overwrite as few chunks as possible. And it probably goes without saying, but the methods that I'm going to use for this bedrock farm only work up to version 1.12. In versions after that, it's all patched, which is why I had to downgrade. But anyway, I now need to go to the end. Firework rockets get deleted when you downgrade, which is why I'm crafting a load more of them. And because the downgrade has made the seed 0, I know exactly where the end portal is. I'll grab some extra oak logs on the way and dig straight down right here. This will land me straight into the portal room. And you'd now think I can just take some Eyes of Ender, activate the portal, and head on through. But I can't, because doing that would take me to the main end island and delete my entire end hub, resetting the chunks. So I'm going to use a clever trick where you place a piston underneath and a button, and then watch what happens when I get pushed through the end. Yes, it doesn't take me to the main end island. Instead, this glitch puts me at the same coordinates in the end as I was at in the overworld. And doing that has saved my build at the main end island. Now, with all of that done, that is Operation Downgrade complete. Which means it's now time for the good bit, which is building the bedrock farm and obtaining the bedrock. And to do that, I'm going to fly to a very specific location. I know I am overwriting a lot of chunks, but it's the end. It's far away in the end. I don't care too much. And another mechanic that we're going to need to understand to build this farm is called chunk save stating. And that's why we needed all of these books. You see, each book, because it's got so many characters in it, takes up a load of memory. And if the data you put in a chunk is larger than 1 megabyte, then the chunk cannot save. Also, this was fixed in 1.16. So I'll just show you in a test world. If we place these books in the shulker box like this in an alternating pattern, so one type of book is there and one type of book is here, Minecraft will try to compress all of this data, but if you have a couple of them down, it can't compress the data enough, so it can't save the chunk. And this is the same concept as if you had a red image. The file size is 8.81 kilobytes. But if you have a checkered image, it can't be compressed as much, meaning it's bigger, and this one is 9.46 kilobytes. So basically, with me placing 2 of these in a chunk, there's a lot of data there, and Minecraft cannot save it. So I can just do loads of stuff to the chunk, I can place loads and loads of diamonds, blow up a big hole, whatever, and I'll put an emerald arrow right here so you know which chunk it was. Then I just fly away, which unloads the chunk, and when I fly back, you can see the emerald arrow is still there. The bit that got blown up outside the chunk is still there, but this chunk has reset back to how it was. And the reason is because Minecraft couldn't save it because it was just too much data. And I hope that made sense, because that is a fundamental part of the bedrock farm. You see, you can use chunk save stating to manipulate the spawning of end gateways and actually make it try and spawn another one when you've already got one here. How on earth does that work? Well, let me explain. I'm also now at the correct X coordinate, which means I'll have to start going north to get to the position for the farm. But first, let me teach you how this works. And I hope you now understand why this video took me so long to make, because yeah, I had to learn a lot of complicated stuff. And so this is the explanation of chunk population. When you load a chunk for the first time at the edge of your render distance, you generate it. Then as you move closer, the chunks next to it also generate. And once you get even closer, 4 chunks in a square will have generated next to each other. And at that point, Minecraft populates the chunk by adding porous fruit and sometimes end gateways. And if I go ahead and save state the chunk that caused these 4 chunks to populate, Minecraft will not realize that these 4 chunks are populated, and next time I unload and reload them, it'll try and spawn another end gateway. That end gateway might be above, or depending on the chunk you save state and the angle you come at the second time, it could be in a completely different position in another chunk. I hope that makes sense. I know it's a bit complicated, but I wanted to at least try and give you guys an explanation. That's pretty much all the theory that you need to know so far. Now, I can go and build the farm. Thought I'd take a bit of a break after all that explaining. But yeah, this is phase 3, build the bedrock farm. And before I do that, I need to create my shulker box save states. So I'll get all of the books placed down. And further down the line, I'm also going to need silk touch. So I shall grab these, place it all down, and see what I can get. Took quite a few attempts, but I've got it. And I've got all those books. I am going to swap my Elytra for a brand new pair, because those have nearly broken. And if I take an anvil, I can also put unbreaking 2 on it. And I might as well upgrade my boots too. And with that, I'm ready to head north to where the end gateway is that I'll be building the farm. There it is up ahead, you can see the beam, and I need to save state the chunk that is just behind it. Now the next time I unload and load these chunks, it'll try and spawn another end gateway, but because of the position I'll be at, it'll spawn it in this chunk. So that's how I'm going to do the farm. I'm going to get rid of all these empty shulker boxes, and then I'll bump up the render distance so that I don't accidentally unload this chunk. And I'm first going to build the platform that the player's going to stand on, which will launch the ender pearl towards the end gateway over there. This right here is the spot, and the platform is going to be at this height. It's quite a long platform because when you're using the farm at render distance 12, you'll need to unload the save stated chunks, which means wandering all the way down here. I'm also putting sea lanterns down to spawn proof it. And now I'm going to build the mechanism that will launch my ender pearl all the way over there. The mechanism is starting to take shape. Right here, there's going to be a boat. If I can just place it down, there we go. And if I back it up, it's going to be up against this wall and the glass. And then there's going to be another wall right there. All looks correctly aligned to me. And so I can continue building upwards. There's still a bit more redstone to be added to make it properly work, but there's going to be a long trail of stone in this direction that has sticky pistons and slime blocks on it that will push the ender pearl along. And there you have it. The ender pearl cannon is complete. This piston and slime right here will connect up to the big lag machine. I'll be building that later because right now I'd like to test it out. And of course it can't be tested out until I've built the platform for the ender pearl to land on. And with that done, I can now test out the ender pearl transporter. So I throw this here and I land all the way onto this platform. That's perfect. And now I can extend this slime connector all the way up here. Then along sideways and upwards. And this will go into a massive machine that creates lots of TNT to make a big lag spike. But I'm not going to build that just yet. First, I'm going to finish this area here. On this dirt block, there's going to be a piece of grass, and I can break that to update this chunk to load it during the lag spike. You'll understand what I mean when you see the farm in action. And down here, I'm going to build a renewable way to save state the chunks and reset the farm so that it's reusable. Because it would just take up way too many blocks if I had to place shulker boxes like this every time. So that is the machine, but how does it work? Well, this is my testing world, and I wanted to make a renewable save state machine. Because these blocks are in stacks, Minecraft can save them, and because the hoppers are powered, they can't take out the items. But if I push this button, all the items equally go into each hopper, and now because they're split up into different stacks and single items, Minecraft cannot save this chunk. I can do what I want here, fly far, far away, and when I return, the blocks are gone and the books are back in the minecart hoppers. So yeah, that was attempt 1. Then I refined into this system. Basically right here, there are 16 empty hopper minecarts in one spot. So I just place them all like this, and there are 16 of each book in this chest. I push the button, it puts the hopper minecarts underneath, and they all split evenly into all the hopper minecarts. Each hopper minecart has 2 books. So if I break that, you can see the one underneath does. If I grab them, the one underneath does, etc, etc. And I can place loads of blocks, fly away, and the chunk is reset. So then I wanted to create a design that will save state this chunk and this chunk. This was the first one, which it worked okay. Basically, the items will fill up and then they get pushed here. But the hopper minecarts are a little bit crazy. This chunk is save stated now, and this chunk. But you can see if I kind of just push them around, they go a little bit crazy. I didn't like that method. So in the end, I created this. If I push this button, this chunk I'm in will get save stated, so I'll be able to reuse it anytime. This chunk will also get save stated, so everything will go back to normal. And then this chunk here can get save stated, because these hopper minecarts that are right there will get pushed into this chunk. So what that will mean is I can push this button, this chunk is save stated, this chunk is save stated, and this one is now save stated. I can do what I want in all 3 of them, and if I fly away, all the chunks are reset. Also, if you want to see what the design is for pushing it twice, basically these blocks get pushed, these pistons extend twice, and blocks get pushed, so that's how they get pushed 2 blocks. And now back to the world, where I'm next going to create a system that automatically buds rails. And a budded rail is a rail that's powered without actually having a power source. This is the contraption I've designed. I press this button and it buds the rails. Place the block next to them, updates them and turns them off. And these 4 rails will also be budded because this redstone block is in the save stated chunk, and when the game removes it because it can't save it, these rails stay powered even when they shouldn't be. Now I'll just add a slime block here and some fire, and an end gateway is going to generate and replace this slime block. But just before that, I'm going to extinguish this fire and break the slime block in one action with a silk touch pickaxe, and that is what will make bedrock drop. But before we can do that, I need to get busy building a giant TNT lag machine. And with that, the entire bedrock farm is now complete. Still got a few spare items left over, so I'll drop them off in the chest. And since my elytra are nearly broken, if I go into here, grab those, and put them together, I can get a brand spanking new pair with unbreaking too. There's so many empty shulker boxes left over. I'd love to fill them all with bedrock, but I don't think I'll have time for quite all of that. Instead, I'll craft a load more rockets, grab some ender pearls, and head over here. I could have also built a smaller TNT-like machine that puts TNT into lazy chunks, but then it would have taken the machine a lot longer to reset itself, so it wasn't really worth it, because it just would have made the farm too slow. So whilst in this chunk, I'm going to make my render distance 12, and then I'll wait for an autosave. I'll know this happens when the time on my computer, which is 6 minutes past 5, is the same as the date modified of the world save. See, it just changed there, because autosaves happen every 45 seconds. So I'm going to save state this chunk, and I'll also save state this one and that one. And that means that anything that happens in those 3 chunks now will not be saved, but anything I did before I press that button will still remain. And the farm is now ready for me to obtain bedrock. And this is a quick explanation of how the farm works. I throw my ender pearl upwards and it gets transported along, landing on this platform. Meanwhile, this machine produces a load of TNT, and in the same tick as the pearl lands, all this TNT explodes. This creates a lag spike, allowing me to be at the edge of my render distance without loading new chunks. I break this grass, which loads another chunk. Then I extinguish the fire, which will instantly break the slime block at the same time with Silk Touch. Still in the same tick, this causes the budded rails to turn off, loading the chunk that spawns the end gateway, and the end gateway then spawns, and the game thinks that the broken slime is bedrock, making bedrock drop to the ground. So that's the explanation behind it. Let's see if it works. I've just got to wait for the autosave, which has just happened. So I throw the ender pearl. All that TNT's over there. Fantastic. And the ender pearl's landed. Right, so I now need to break the grass. Then I go like this. And in theory, yes, we got bedrock. We have got bedrock. Let me go and save state the chunk so that I can redo this. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, I've got bedrock in hardcore Minecraft. And from there, I can just fly back onto this platform, run backwards and forwards along the redstone blocks to properly unload the chunks. And then when the next autosave happens, which it just has, I can do it again. It is going to just reset itself and allow me to do it over and over again. I can stand in the fire because of the lag. We get the bedrock. We press that, we fly back, and all of it took me less than 30 seconds, meaning every 45 seconds, because that's when every autosave happens, I can get another piece of bedrock. It's just so renewable. It just works over and over again. It's fantastic. It's really, really easy. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anyone has ever made a better farm for bedrock than this. Obviously, people have had different methods and stuff for getting it, but I think this is the best that anyone's done. But I could be wrong because there's a lot of clever Minecraft players out there. All I know is I'm going to get a lot of bedrock very, very fast, and I'm just going to keep doing it over and over again. And once I do this, it is going to get me bedrock piece number 10. And because I'm getting a piece of bedrock every 50 seconds, which is because the autosave is 45 seconds and there's about 5 seconds of lag as well, it means I get 6 pieces every 5 minutes. And in about 54 minutes, I can get a full stack. So I'm just going to keep going because that is exactly what I want. And in just less than 25 minutes, so it's actually a bit faster than expected, I'm about to get piece number 32, which puts me halfway. So I should have a stack in less than 50 minutes. I think it's faster than my calculations because the autosave is happening roughly every 48 to 49 seconds rather than the 50 I said before. So yeah, that makes the farm even faster. And have so far been using it at perfect efficiency. I want to continue to do that for the entire hour to see just how much it actually does get you in 1 hour of usage, because I have absolutely no idea what the result's going to be. 63 pieces, almost there. You also may notice that the durability of my pickaxe isn't really going down. It's gone down 14 points for this entire stack, so it's in no danger of breaking. And that is an entire stack of bedrock obtained in about 51 minutes. So yeah, I'm going to keep going for another 9 minutes and see how many I get in an hour. I do also think this farm could be made faster if it could be done in such a way where you could do 2 of them per autosave. I think with some optimizations to everything and maybe a bit more automation, it is definitely doable. But I'm happy with what I've got. However, if you do manage to get 2 per autosave, then as you might have guessed, the farm will become twice as fast. This is going to be the last piece of bedrock that I have a chance to get, which means after 1 hour, I have got a grand total of 74. Yes, this bedrock farm gets you 74 bedrock per hour. That is definitely not too shabby at all. Let's put these in the ender chest. And the other good thing about this farm as well is I could just fly over here and then save and quit, and I could just pick up where I left off later. Now, before I leave this farm, I need at least 2 stacks of bedrock for my factory. I feel like I've gone to all this effort, and if I only get 2 stacks, it's a bit of a letdown. So I'm just going to grab loads and loads of pearls. And I'm just going to spend a few hours doing the same thing over and over again. If I can get 3-4 stacks, I think I'll be happy at that point. It's very repetitive and very straightforward, which is crazy to think about when you remember how complicated of a farm this actually is. But anyway, I'm going to get busy and spend as much time as I can collecting up loads and loads of the bedrock. And at this point, I think this is going to be the last time that I do it. Or at least one of the last times. I've been doing it over and over and over again for quite a few hours. And at this point, my Elytra are pretty much broken. I don't want to keep going and end up falling in the void or something stupid because my Elytra break. I did also have like 3 other pairs in there. I've used all of them to repair it. I can't do any more. I should have brought leather, then I could have kept going. But unfortunately, I did not do that. So let's pick that up. We can pick up... I've had to use up a lot of gunpowder and a bit of paper for rockets. And you can see, not bad. 7 stacks, nearly 7.5. I can get 7.5. How about I get 2 more pieces? I think that's good. So that right there is 1 more. And that is all of them that I will ever get from this farm. It is the end of it. So I'm going to gather up all of the stuff and carefully put all of my bedrock into this shulker box. Wow, just look at it. My inventory and ender chest is full. So now I shall fly away from here. And that is that. I've successfully farmed bedrock, and even better, there's an end gateway right here that I'm not going to go through right now because I don't want to delete the chunks in my end base. But if I now upgrade my world back to 1.20, the end gateway's still there, and so is my bedrock. It really is quite insane. I'm going to go through this end gateway. Apparently, I've lost all my advancements. And, okay, well, my master plan to not lose my end hub almost worked, but I'm guessing if an item went through an end gateway, then it would load some of the chunks. So yeah, that's probably what happened here. At least it's still repairable. It's not the end of the world. And once I go through this portal, you'd think everything's broken. However, if I just save and quit and make the chunks no longer read-only, when I go back into the world, I'm now stuck underground, as you can tell. But if I kind of just dig my way out so that I'm not stuck, you'll see that everything is fine. Where are we? Inside the tree farm, apparently. But yeah, everything is still here. It actually feels really good to be back. And the journey for me to have bedrock in my hardcore world is officially over. I can even add it into the factory to make it rain bedrock, which in my opinion looks incredible. And I can also put down the first bedrock I've ever placed in this world, like so, to make it look like the laser is drilling into it. Now, to build a netherite farm, I'm gonna need a lot of iron. Something I've pretty much run out of. And a bug in 1.19 broke my iron farm, but it's been fixed in 1.20.2. So now I just need to fill it with 2 pillagers and 112 villagers. Because the downgrade of last episode somehow made them all escape. I reckon my best bet to get them all is just to build a simple villager breeder. This looks like a good spot, and it's not going to require too many items to build. Mainly just a load of dirt, glass, and crops. Plus all of these items too. I'm going to build it quite high up, which will be annoying for getting the villagers up here to breed. But then once they are here, it'll be easier to get them into the different slots. So I'll grab a load of items and get busy building this. So this right here is where the minecart dispenser will be. And what I'm making right here is the baby villager sorter. So the baby villagers will go into here, and when they grow up, their head will be higher than the slab, which means they'll end up here and get pushed into the powdered snow and above the iron trapdoor. And now to build a bit where the magic happens, literally, because this is where the villagers will breed. That's the bottom bit done, and so now the ground can be tilled, the slabs can be waterlogged, and the carrots can be planted. And with that done, Operation Build Up the Walls can commence. I'll also add 2 more farming layers above it as well. And it is done. 3 layers for them to breed on, and all it's now missing is a bunch of beds. And now comes the fun part, because I've somehow got to get these villagers down here, all the way up there. I'll start by building a giant dirt staircase, which leads up to the very top. Next, I'll add a bunch of powered rails, with levers on the side. Alright, villager number 1, prepare to be, Oh, well, that didn't work. Take 2. Prepare to be abducted. And the same for you too. And with that, you guys can now get busy breeding. And I'll be sending a couple more up for you as well. In here, I've now got 6. And now I can fill up all of the rest. At this point, I think I've run out of villagers. But that's the beauty of having a breeder under... Wait, how have you escaped? I have no idea. But all I do know is we need to get you into a safe place. So that's you safely into there and in here. And I'll release you when you become an adult. And in the meantime, I'll add more trapdoors so that doesn't happen again. As these villagers grow up, I can press this button, which will pick them up in a minecart and add them into here, which means the villager breeder is now full. And now I just need to wait for these guys to breed me loads of villagers. And whilst I wait for that, if you would like to download my world, I've added an up-to-date version of it to my Patreon that I will update after every single new episode. Yes, you will have to pay, but there's other Patreon perks as well, and it does take a bit of work to make a 70GB world small enough for you to download. And if you'd like to be able to just play on it for free, I've also put it on my Minecraft server for you to explore. You just can't mine or place blocks on the server. The IP is penguin.gg. And I think that's enough villagers, mainly because they were starting to take damage, so I will begin getting them into their homes. The minecart track is ready. I push this button not once, not twice, but thrice. And apparently, I send them all to their death. Okay, take two, this time with a softer landing. And this time, they've all survived. Okay, what on? I take that back, they didn't. I've never seen anything like it. Anyway, this time, they're all okay. And I can continue loading up all of the other spots. That's the second one sorted, as well as the third one, and finally the fourth. And from there, I'll just keep breeding more villagers until I've filled up the entire farm. And there we go. Every single bed. Oh well. Almost every single bed. There we go. Now they're all done. I'm going to flick this lever to turn it off. And I'm now missing a pillager right here and a pillager right there. So I'll be going through this portal because the easiest way for me to move pillagers is through the nether. And so if I head through this portal, this is where pillagers spawn. Then I need to get one of them into a boat. I'll remove my armor because the thorns is damaging him. And he's going to keep trying to shoot me over and over again, but he can't. And eventually his crossbow will break. And it is finally done. It is broken. And he... Are you kidding me? So here goes take two, where I must wait again. There we go. Let's send him through the portal and then drag him in this direction to this portal where he can be put in the minecart. And now I shall head back to where I can fly up here to spawn more pillagers that can also have their crossbows removed. That's a job well done. He can go in there, into that minecart, and this is it. The farm has been fixed. So I'll get rid of all this dirt scaffolding, and I'll also flick these levers to turn the villager breeder off, because I kind of forgot about it, and now I'm completely overrun with babies. And I'm now going to go over here to get some sleep, and the moment of truth, I flick this lever, the pillagers set off, and every time they reach the villagers, they stop, scare the villagers, and 4 iron golems are spawned. And this continues over and over as they go round and round the pillager roller coaster. And it wasn't actually the 1.19 bug that broke the farm. It was a different bug that made the game think that the beds were occupied when they weren't, so the villagers couldn't get in, so no golems could spawn. The farm has already got me loads of iron, which is great. And whilst the farm is running, I'm going to go through this portal and gather up every single other item that I'm going to need to create the netherite farm. And with that, I have every single item I need, meaning that phase 1 is complete. And I can begin phase 2, which is to dig a massive hole in the nether. And right here, I do already have this massive nether perimeter. However, building my farm in this would interfere with my gold farm, it would interfere with the fortress farm. I just don't want to do that. So instead, I'm going to find a new spot to build it, and I want it to be an area that doesn't have loads of lava below it. Because when digging the hole, the lava is going to be the annoying thing. This seems like a pretty good spot because it's just a massive section of land. So I'm now going to have to go up really, really high. And from bedrock height, I'm going to mark out an area that is 3 by 3 chunks. And this entire hole is currently 2 blocks high, and it needs to be 120 blocks high in total. So I'm going to quickly dig my way out of here, repair my pickaxe, and dig out enough layers of netherrack so there'll be enough space for me to build a world eater to break the rest. And there we go. Enough of this is now mined out. That took way too long. And the rest of this hole is going to be blown up, so I'll go and get the materials for that. Although just before that, I wouldn't mind flying to spawn, because I'd like to see how well the iron farm is doing. And yeah, it's safe to say it's doing pretty well. So I'll craft a load of blocks and use them to fill a shulker box. There we go. And now to grab all the necessary items to blow up the nether. That is everything. And I'll also top up my food and repair my pickaxes. Now to fly over in this direction, past this nether portal, and follow the arrow. You see, I put that there for a reason, because it leads me here, where I can now build the TNT machine. There we go. And I've made a rookie mistake because I forgot to bring any glowstone. But thankfully we are in the nether, so I can easily collect some up. 8 pieces should be enough. That means I can complete the machine and also the return pad. Job done. And so I've removed this redstone block, which will start it off, and loads of TNT is going to start being produced, destroying everything. But there's lava that's interfering with my plans. So the easiest way for me to get rid of that is just to craft a load of buckets and then use those buckets to pick it up. This is going to take some good flying and also a bit of fire resistance too. So the only thing that can go wrong with this plan is if I get blasted by TNT and die. And it is a real possibility because I am an idiot when it comes to these machines, so I'm going to be very careful and avoid standing near where the TNT blows up. This is also a great method to get ancient debris, which I'll mine up later when I don't have to worry about lava blocking all my TNT. The machine has stopped because it's got stuck against this wall up here. And you can see there's a lot of terrain left because of the lava. In fact, let me get rid of these last few little bits. And now you can see what I'm working with. So all of this has got to go. But before that, the lava down here also needs removing. And buckets just aren't the best way to do it. So I'll be using scaffolding instead. Which basically works by going like this, so that you fill in the whole thing and replace the lava. It's quite satisfying to do, and there's a lot of lava to get rid of. Took a while, but yes, all the lava has now gone, which means I can put the scaffolding back into here, remove this machine, and build another one right here. Next, I can set this off, and the TNT is going to blow up all the parts of the terrain that the lava protected before. And it'll also expose new bits of lava that I can get rid of without blowing myself up, hopefully. Yes, mate, come on. Be more careful. And it is a real possibility because I am an idiot when it comes to these machines, so I'm going to be very careful. And as the machine's running, I'll also get all the ancient debris that's dotted around. Yeah, there's a piece there, another one there. The TNT is coming for me. I better hurry up and just focus on collecting these. And you know what? Nether quartz is something that I never seem to have enough of, so whilst I'm waiting, I'm going to mine a load of it up because so much of it has been exposed. At this point, I think I've mined up enough, over 5 stacks, and the machine is not too far off its second lap. And there you have it. The machine is now stuck, and this hole is kind of deep enough, except for the fact that I need to corner off this lava and dig out a bit more space here because some of the machine needs to go even lower. And that should just about do it. The main bulk of the machine is going to be built in this big chasm, but I'm still not done because quite a bit of the machine is also going to be done. Hey, look, there's ancient debris. Well, yeah, another big part of the machine is going to be built in a corridor that connects to here. And I've dug out the width and height of it, although it will need to go a little bit lower later on, but for now, this is exactly how high I can reach, so I'm going to keep it like this until it is the full length it needs to be, which is quite a few hundred blocks. But just before doing that, I should probably fly up here and repair my pickaxes. Then I don't have to worry about my pickaxes breaking, and I can dig out the entire... Oh, look, ancient debris. But yeah, then I can dig out the entire tunnel. And the top half is now done. That was a nightmare. Did not expect to have to dig a massive tunnel into the lava. And I've got to do even more digging so that half of this tunnel is 10 blocks deeper than this little bit over here. Once this is done, I'll be able to build the machine. And because I did the top half first, I'm not going to have to contend with that much lava. And before I actually continue, it's probably a good idea if I mend my pickaxe. Last thing I want to happen is for it to break, so I'm better being safe than sorry. And with that done, I can drop off these items and get busy mining. And there we go, phase 2 is now complete, which was to clear out a massive hole in the nether. Now to fly back, repair stuff again, and then grab all of these different materials, because we can finally begin phase 3, which is to finally build the netherite farm. It can get me thousands of ancient debris in a very, very short space of time. I'm going to start by building 2 giant outlines of cubes, because that's how I'm going to align the entire machine with the chunks. If it's not correctly chunk aligned, everything will break. And exactly why is that the case? Well, I'll explain later on. For now, all I'll say is that I'm going to be placing quite a lot of redstone components. And this bottom bit of the machine is pretty much all going to be what controls the timings of the intervals that the machine works at. And this is exactly why I needed so much iron. Because right here we have a rail system that's going to have minecarts going around it. And the machine will eventually produce loads of TNT, and the minecarts can be used to split the TNT up and space them out. Again, I'll explain it properly when I've actually built the machine. And until that point, you're only going to get little snippets of explanations here and there. And the main thing I need to do right now is put absolutely everything into the chest, then grab iron and shulker boxes, because I first need to fill these chests with normal minecarts, and then shulker boxes full of minecarts need to go into this chest. Now you see why I've been gathering so much iron, because I need over 60 shulker boxes worth. So I'm going to get busy and get to work. All of these shulker boxes have now been filled with minecarts, so I think I should have enough. As you can see, my iron reserves are not what they used to be. Yeah, it took a lot. But anyway, I'll mine these up, add them to this chest, and then I'll realize that I am 2 boxes short, which very quickly and easily can be rectified. There we go. And now I can get back to building up this farm. So the bit down here that kind of sorts out all the TNT is almost done. And I'm now building something that sends a signal from over here all the way up to the top. It just involves observers and activator rails to send the signal. And from there I'll use observers, concrete, and doors to tower it upwards. At this point I've pretty much made it to the top. I'm just going to place 6 more observers so you can see what I've just done, as it's a pretty tall tower. And I need to get back to work on all of the redstone down here. And that's pretty much all the redstone done at this level. Just need to add 4 pieces of concrete into this hopper and a singular piece in this one. And with that, it's now time to tower this bit upwards. I've placed down a load of glass, which is going to funnel the TNT into that one spot. But for the TNT to actually get pushed into one spot, we're going to need slime blocks to move them, which is where this little system comes in. And from there I can continue building upwards, where I can add a glass platform and more slime to push the TNT. And now we're getting close to the bit where the TNT is going to be. And where I'm stood, there's going to be lava, so I'm adding glow lichen to stop it flowing down while still allowing the TNT to pass through. And for those of you that watch 7,000 Days, you'll notice that what I'm building, I've done before. Yes, this massive machine is a design by Cubic Meter, and it's called the Infinibore. I used it to get me a lot of diamonds, but this time I'm going to do different settings to destroy a much larger area, and it is going to get me so much ancient debris. In fact, it's so powerful that it's going to get me a full netherite beacon's worth in just 7 or 8 hours, which is crazy when you think that that normally takes people months and months. Now in each of the corners of these squares there is going to be lava. That's all of them in. Now it's time to add loads more redstone, and this is basically the control room part of the build, where I can tweak all different settings and it'll give me different results, which is always very handy. And before I go any further with the redstone up here, there's something I've realized I should do. You see, down at the bottom here in this massive long corridor, there's going to be a big machine that goes right the way to the end. That machine is what splits the TNT up and will then fire it to create a massive hole. However, the machine is going to require vines, and it's going to be easier for me if I would let the vines grow. But the vines growing is actually going to take quite a bit of time, so it might as well be happening whilst I'm doing all of the building up at the top. Don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. So I'll place these down and build it all the way to the end. And then I shall add the vines down, which are going to go in between every single piston. Only 1 in each space is required, because over time the rest will do itself as it grows, which is always a nice thing to be able to happen. And whilst I'm here, I might as well add in all the other redstone components. That's all the tripwire hooks in. And now to do all the rest. And this entire thing is now done. The vines are steadily growing. Not all of them are where they need to be, but they've got plenty of time. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just glad that this part of the machine is done, because it means I can go back to focusing on all this redstone up here, which begins with more glass and pistons. I've also just come to check on the vines and noticed some of them have been growing on that wall there, which I don't really... Okay, well, that was fortuitous. We'll grab that. As I was saying, which I don't really want to have happen. And so to combat that, I'm going to make this entire tunnel 1 block wide. There we go. That's the vine problem sorted. So I can continue to leave them to grow whilst I continue to add the rest of the redstone. I'm now adding in a load of warped gates, and after that, that is when things will get interesting, because on top of the gates I will be placing TNT. Yeah, I've got to get this right, because if I get it wrong now, I'll blow up the entire machine and lose a lot of work. So far, so good with placing it down, because nothing has blown up. But the worrying bit is yet to come. I'm going to make a bit of a glass platform for me to stand on. And here's the bit that could be dangerous, because I'm going to place target blocks along. Then I'm going to run the redstone dust up to here. Add more concrete, more target blocks, and more redstone dust. And I will hook all of this up to powered redstone. But before I do that, I'm going to drop off a bunch of items, because I need to head home to collect 17 cakes. I know it's a very specific amount, and you're probably wondering why. Well, all will be revealed very soon. And whilst I'm here, I want glowing sacks and red dye, as well as 9 buccan quills. Then I can grab some emeralds and go and see my friend the farmer, who will give me loads of cake. Now I can make it so that the signs are much easier to read, and all these cakes are going into this barrel to create a certain amount of power for the comparator. And for now, I'll just put the buccan quills in here, because they're going to be used later, not just yet. I'm fairly confident it should be fine, to be honest, so we're going like that. Redstone, and then before every block, there's going to be a comparator. No TNT has blown up just yet, which is nice. And I've made it to the end. And now there isn't too much building left to be done. Just a bit more redstone over here and stuff related to the lecterns, which have all been placed down. I just need to write the books and set them to the correct page, which is pretty straightforward to do. I just go like that and press done and repeat that for every single one, all with slightly different values. And with that done, I can get busy placing the redstone to finish the entire build. And once I place this final observer, it's done. The machine is completely finished. But there's also just need to be 4 concrete in this right hopper, which is easy enough. So we'll just go ahead and do that. And I'm almost ready to use it. But the only thing I do still have to wait for is for these vines to grow. Apparently some of them are faster than others. But it's not too much of an issue because I have still got a little bit of digging left. As you can imagine, it's been a big digging project. And the digging that needs to be done is I need to create a bit of a standoff zone so that when the TNT comes down and gets fired in this direction, it doesn't just go straight into the wall. There needs to be a bit of space between it and the machine. The width that the standoff zone needs to be is about 28 blocks. And it actually connects up to this, so that's not too bad, is it? We've got a nice little cave to work with where I've already been getting ancient debris. I'm also going to take the opportunity to remove any lava. And hey, whilst doing it, might even get a bit more ancient debris. And I'm also going to place alternating glass blocks for the TNT to land on all the way along here to the very end. Mission accomplished. I'll drop off all of this junk that I now no longer need. Then I'll repair my pickaxe and get busy mining out the final area for this farm to be complete. And it is now all mined out. And unfortunately, right at the end, my silk touch pickaxe did break, which is a bit annoying, as it will mean that I'll have to use a load more levels making a new one. Not much I can do about that though, so I'll drop off all these items I've got. The blackstone and gravel will be very useful. Then I'll grab 3 diamonds, 2 sticks, and I'll also need a netherite ingot. That's that sorted, and a pickaxe crafted. Now to buy the correct books, put it all together, and make it netherite. This XP farm will do the rest, and now this netherite farm is ready to be used. And the spot that you have to stand at for this farm to work is also a very, very important part. I'm now in the exact right position and I'm worn off so that when I stand there, I'll be safe. Job done. It's quite cozy, but yeah, to make it work, I'll have to fly along this pathway I've made, which connects all the way back to here. Now, before I do anything, I do need to make sure that every single vine has grown. As you can see, some haven't quite. It's not too big of a deal though, because in here, I've got loads of spare vines that I brought, so I can very easily place blocks and then put vines on them to make them fully grown. And once I place down these 4 and mine the netherrack, all of the vines are now done. And I think everything's pretty much 100% ready to go. So just as an initial test run, I'm going to put 1 nugget into this top dropper and then press the button to start the machine. Although nothing will happen just yet, I first need to unload almost all of the chunks by flying through this tunnel I made and ending up right here. Then the machine is working. The way the machine works is loads of TNT is created here in the entity processing chunks. And then it's stored in the redstone processing chunks where it can be kept in stasis and it is given momentum. It's then separated as it's pushed by these pistons because the minecarts act as a separator. And then it's fired off out of any loaded chunks and warped into the terrain at different positions, covering the entire area. It then remains active until the terrain is loaded, then it instantly blows up. At this point, enough time should have passed so the machine should have finished. And it's the moment of truth. Did this massive machine work? Or has it just blown itself up? So far, so good. But it's in here where it matters the most. It all looks fine. And it has worked. Look at it. All of this has been blown up, revealing so much ancient debris. And you might look at this as being pretty big, pretty impressive, and it's not too bad at all, if you don't fly into the lava, that is. On average, a blast this big will get you about 2 stacks of the ancient debris. However, 2 stacks isn't going to finish my beacon. That's just nowhere near good enough. So as big as this may be, I'm now going to run the machine again, but this time it's going to take a lot longer because it's going to make a tunnel that is 20 times as long. Yes, that tunnel had a length of 192 blocks, but by me grabbing 22 nuggets and putting them in here, it is going to make a tunnel with a length of 4,224 blocks, which is going to get me more than enough ancient debris. It's going to be amazing. It's going to take its time in running, so I will simply have to wait here until it's done. And to be extra safe, I am going to box myself in. I've let it run. It has now completed. Let's see if it worked. I really hope so. Otherwise, it'll just mess everything up and all that work will have gone down the drain. So we shall see. Did the Infinibore blow everything up? So far, so good. The machine isn't broken. And this area that I'm in was already blasted before, so we're going to have to fly further this way. And It's looking promising, you know, ladies and gentlemen, because the tunnel just keeps going on and on and on, and it should go on and on and on for 4,000 blocks. That looks to be the case. Oh, it's amazing. And just look at all of this ancient debris everywhere. We are going to get so much. Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic that it works. So, before I go on the mining spree, I'm going to first need to get a few things. Firstly, a load of netherite, because I'm going to be doing a lot of towering around as I collect the ancient debris. And then I need to fly up here, not to go to the gold farm, but instead to the old bartering farm, because this has a section specifically for fire resistance. Yeah, having fire resistance isn't 100% necessary, but it will come in handy. Then I can head to the gold XP farm to repair everything. And with that, I'm ready. Ready to begin the massive project of collecting up every single piece. And I'm going to be using a systematic method to do it, where I just go across from chunk to chunk, collecting ancient debris in each one. You only ever get one vein per chunk, so it should be pretty straightforward to know what I've done. Could the collection of this ancient debris be automated by massive sweepers? Possibly, but I do think a machine like that would take a ridiculously long time to run. It's not even been an entire Minecraft day, and already I've managed to get an entire stack of the ancient debris. The speed of this is pretty crazy, and I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get a full netherite beacon in no time, which, if you ask me, is pretty impressive. In total, I need 36 to repair my beacon, and progress towards that is pretty good. With that, I've managed to get the third one with no signs of slowing down. And now that I've got 4 of them, I'm thinking I should do an experiment. I'll first put these that I've already got into the shulker box, and then I'll put 1 hour on the clock and see how many I can get in that time. I'm expecting about 4 or 5 stacks, but we shall see. And after a grand total of 1 hour, let me just get rid of this guy first. He's ruining everything. I have got 5 stacks and 18 pieces of ancient debris, which is 338 in total. That is pretty good indeed. But it's still not enough, because I need more for the rest of the beacon. So I'll keep going till I've completed this stack. There's about 37 to go. Then I'll have 10 stacks of debris in total, and I can go from there. There we go. That's 10 stacks in total. Plus I've got 6 in here, and in this red shulker box, another 35, meaning there's loads more in there. So I'll get it all smelted, and 10 stacks of netherite scrap is going to require 10 stacks of gold. Something I don't have. I have, however, been spending time repairing my items at this XP gold farm. So in the chest, theoretically, there's 52 gold. Okay, you know what? This isn't going to be enough. But I can repair everything here, which is handy. No, instead, I should go to the gold farm that is actually way faster. Located at the end of these blackstone slabs. So I will just stand right here. And pigmen will spawn and walk into the portals. And then the drops get pushed along the ice highway and end up in the chest. I'll let it run for a little bit. That should be enough, so I'll get busy crafting it into ingots. All of that's probably going to be enough, so I'll fly back home, collect up my netherite scrap, and craft a load more netherite blocks. It was a total of 18 blocks. If I'd got 1 more scrap, I would have got a 19th block, but I'm still very happy with that, and I'm going to place it down, adding it to the collection. That means there's still 46 netherite blocks to go, which is 25 stacks of ancient debris, so I'm going to put my best foot forward and continue working hard in collecting up the rest of the ancient debris. And once I mine this, I now have 5 stacks of ancient debris. And it's also really good mining it up in a basalt delta, because due to the higher blast resistance of basalt, the tunnel isn't as high, so you can reach most of the ancient debris without having to build up. And because of the difference in color between the ancient debris and the basalt, you can also see it really easily from quite far away. So yeah, normally this biome is the worst one to find ancient debris, but in this instance, it's actually the best. Once I mine this up, I will have another 16 stacks of ancient debris in my inventory, which, if I put with this, gets me to 21. I really am getting very close indeed. Unfortunately, I'm also trying to conserve netherite by remining these, but I did unfortunately run out of fire resistance, so I'm being more careful now. And that is causing me to go through food a little bit faster. But anyway, 4 stacks to go, so I'm going to put my best foot forward and keep mining away. And with that, I have every single piece of ancient debris that I need. It looks amazing. Just look at it all. And I might as well just grab a few extra bits whilst I'm here. There's still another 1,000 blocks of tunnel left to explore. It just shows how massive of a blast it can make. And I'm sure all this will continue to be very useful in the future. Anyway, no more mining. It is time to get back and get this smelted. And then I can repair my beacon. And on the way back, you never know, I might spot the odd piece of ancient debris that I missed. Although in reality, it's more than the odd piece. I'm finding quite a bit. And I can't ignore it when I go past. You see ancient debris, you have to grab it. Home sweet home. I'll get all this smelting in my little furnace array. My little furnace array, which apparently has run out of fuel. Or at least some of the furnaces have. but not anymore, because blaze rods are something that I've got loads and loads and loads of. I'll leave all that to it. And now I need 25 stacks of gold. As we've already established, that's not something I quite have enough of at the moment. Maybe in here I'll have enough. Hey, I forgot about this as well. Yeah, there's even more netherite scrap. Let's turn it into ingots. We still need more, so I'll craft what I can. And this furnace system did used to be chunk loaded down there, so I'm hoping it still is. I suppose time will tell, because I'm going to leave that running whilst I sit at the gold farm again. The gold is filling up nicely. I probably need about 15 stacks of ingots. Shouldn't take long. I'll just keep going. At this point, I reckon I've got enough. So I'll get these emptied. And the same goes for this chest. And this one. And from there, I can craft ingots to my heart's content. Yeah, I'm sure that that's definitely going to be enough. So let's fly back, craft all the remaining ingots. And from that, I have plenty more blocks of netherite, which in theory should be enough. But I think for some reason I couldn't count ancient debris correctly. Because I think even though this should be a very, very special moment because I've got my netherite beacon back, I'm 1 block short. How did that happen? Yeah, I don't know. Not to worry though, if I just go down here. Yeah, we can just nick this. And it is done. I once again have a full netherite beacon. Doesn't it just look amazing? It is great to have it back. The weird thing straight away is I can hear... What the heck? This is what I can hear some pause. Has a lightning struck on top of me? Wait, what? Obviously, whilst the Infiniball was running, I was in another country. I wasn't recording the whole thing, so I don't know what has happened here. All I know is that these fellas are now part of this. I guess that's pretty cool. Exactly what happened? I guess we'll never know. But more importantly, did the machine do as it was supposed to? Did my calculations work? Is the tunnel the correct length? At this point, with the current section I'm in, I've already been here, got all of the diamonds. You can even see the little areas where I towered up. And here we go. We're now into the segment where we're in new areas where we can collect diamonds, which is fantastic. I'll lower the render distance to 2, then systematically go across the chunks, picking up every single diamond. And by making the render distance 2, it means all the other diamonds won't despawn before I get to them. I'm also going to pick up diamond ore whenever I see it, because I need to repair a few things, such as the floor in my house and the pathway by the pillagers. And in a very short space of time, I've already got over 2 stacks of diamonds. But remember, I need 18,000 in total. So right now, I'm currently nowhere near. And now we're up to 5 stacks, and then 10. And that is 1,000 diamonds, plus nearly 4 stacks of diamond ore. But how long does it actually take with this method to collect up 1,000 diamonds? Well, I wasn't really paying attention before, so I'll put all the diamonds that I have in this shulker box. Then I'll grab the fortune pick, put a timer on screen, and see how fast I can get 1,000. And that is the 1 hour complete. I got almost 18.5 stacks in that time, which is 1,183. That's pretty crazy. Look at that, there's a sneaky 1 under here, then I missed a sneaky 2 under the water. And I'm going to take all those diamonds and fly back. Why am I going to fly back? Because I want to use the diamonds I've got so far to replenish any of the diamonds I had to steal in my world. These are the 4 places that need repairing. I'll start with my diamond beacon. Oh, it's beautiful to have it back. A lot of you want me to build the world's largest netherite beacon. Let me know if you want the world's largest diamond beacon to be done as well. But more importantly, I can also repair my house. Now to repair down here, this portal, the enchantment table, which I nearly didn't have enough diamond blocks for, so I had to mine up more of the deep slate diamond. And this pathway is the final part, but I'm gonna have to collect up more for this before Operation Repair Everything can be complete. But before that, since we're going to be getting every single armor trim possible, I am going to release a brand new signed poster. Are you ready for the big reveal? Here it is, me in some silence armor with all the armor trims behind and the netherite and diamond beacon there as well. I've signed every single one of them by hand. It took a long time. They're available on sp77.store, and once they are sold out, they are gone forever, so you don't have much time, but I'm sure it'll be very cool for your collection. And it also will be put in a better place in my world. I'm going to be rebuilding today this entire armor trim thing just to make it look way cooler, because it is such a big project. It deserves a cool armor trim stand place. And the poster will have a new home there as well. And with that sorted, I can get back to collecting diamonds and diamond ore, because to repair that entire pathway, it requires 731 blocks. That's almost 12 stacks, so I better get busy and get to work. Progress is going pretty good. I've already got over 10 stacks and those 2 stacks of deep slate diamond ore. It's not quite the 731 that I need, but there's plenty to be found here. Especially in the side walls, this seems to be the most commonplace, because generally speaking, in the middle, the TNT would have blown the ore up. Although not everywhere. There's a few dotted around here and there, and I'm going to be so glad when this massive diamond project is finally done. Very nice. I've got stack number 11, and there's plenty more still to be found. Oh my goodness, look at this, 2 dungeons right next to each other. But if there's not a notch apple or diamonds, is it really worth it? No. No, it's not, and there's nothing here, so I'll just get back to collecting. I've just run out of fire rockets, and it's something I want to test out. Instead of using the ones that have a flight duration of 3, I'm thinking if I use a flight duration 1, will it make it better for me when I'm flying around? Because the more powerful ones almost make me go so far that I fly over what I'm trying to collect, and it might mean I'm missing diamonds. Also, there's a lot of diamonds in this area. It's very nice. But I'll test it out. So you can see I've gone in this long way, and now I'm just gliding. I would have flown right past this and had to crash into the floor to get them. And it also means that I'm getting 3 times as many rockets for the amount of gunpowder used, because sometimes I just want to do that and just kind of glide nicely and using the speed. So I do think this is a faster and more efficient way to do it. In fact, it's fantastic. I think this is great. I reckon I could get more than 1,200 diamonds an hour with this method. What I'll do is I'll keep going until I manage to get to 1,000. To reach that, I've got about 100 to go. And then I'll do another hour's test to see what I can get in an hour. I'm just curious to see how it works, and to see if what I'm doing really is as effective as it seems. And that is over 1,000 diamonds in the bag. So let's load up the shulker box, craft even more rockets so I've got them ready. And the 1 hour timer has started, so let's see just what we can get. I've now just got over 500 diamonds in 20 minutes. Less than 20 minutes to be exact. So this is a very, very fast method. If I can keep it up, I'm going to end up getting like 1,500 diamonds in an hour, which is crazy because I only got like 1,180 last time. And the faster I can get every single diamond I need, the faster I can get on with the armor trims. And as we come up to the half an hour mark, I have got 763 diamonds. I'm on track to get more than 1,500. This is insane. I've just hit the 40-minute mark, and I've also just gone over 1,000 diamonds, which is fantastic. Progress is good, and we are now on the home straight. There's just 30 seconds left on the clock. At this point, I have no idea how many diamonds I've got because I had to dump a load of them into a shulker box. But if it's more than 1,500, I will be very, very pleased. And that's it. 1 hour's gone. This is the shulker box. Let's put them all in. And it's a grand total of 1,539 diamonds. And yeah, just by getting faster at picking them all up, the method where I originally would get 1,000 diamonds per hour is now over 1,500. Before I was thinking 18 hours, but now it's going to be more like 10. That really is insane. To do all that in an hour is insane. And speaking of 10, I'm now going to keep going until I get to 10,000 diamonds. But also don't forget, I still need nearly 12 stacks of diamond ore, so I'll be collecting up those too. And with that, I have 1,000, and now 2,000. Just got 1,000 in under 35 minutes. Next, I've reached 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 7,500, and 10,000. That really has boosted the block collection. As you can see, I've got absolutely loads. And there's now not much of this tunnel left. So I'm just going to keep exploring and collecting diamonds until it runs out. And I actually got another 822 diamonds exploring the rest of that, which is pretty good. Let's turn them into blocks. And I can put them with the rest of this. Now, I don't know if I've got enough diamonds for every armor trim. Well, I sort of do know. Inside this shulker box, I have 13,581, which is 2,800 short because in total I need 16,388 diamonds. I also have no idea why I'm manually flying back. I might as well go through the nether and save some time. And it's actually taking me into the infinibore section. That's so cool that they're connected up. And right under ancient debris that I missed once upon a time. Well, that's very handy. Might as well grab it and keep an eye out for any more as I fly back. But yeah, I'm 2,800 diamonds short. However, right here I have a lot of deep slate diamond ore that probably doesn't need to be here at the moment. So I'm going to mine it back up and make use of it. One day this pathway will be fixed, but only when I have every armor trim combination. There's even more over by this enchantment table. And yes, technically I still don't have enough, but in this shulker box, there's even more. Even more that's pretty quick and easy to mine, which still probably isn't going to be quite enough. And you know what? I know I only just fixed these not long ago, but they're also getting mined. And if that's still not enough, there's one place left. Yes, I know you don't want me to do it, but at this point, I'm not sure I have a choice. Yes, the diamond beacon is being removed again. No sooner had it been done, it's having to be dismantled. Well, hey, I filled an entire shulker box of diamond blocks, which looks pretty cool, doesn't it? And now the big crafting spree to turn all of these smithing templates into this many of each can begin. Now for sentry, I still need another stack and 7, so I'll go over here to the cobblestone chest, get a stack and 7, and then say goodbye to all the diamonds. Yes, we're going to go like that and craft them like so. Next, I'm going to take the spire one and grab a load of purple blocks. Although I don't seem to have that many. That could be a problem. I can craft a few more at the very least. But I still need another stack of the chorus fruit. So we're going to fly on down here. And when I get to the bottom, I'm going to grab some more food because I'm getting hungry and my health's not doing too great either. But yeah, from down here, I can use the little chorus fruit farm to get a load more. And then that can be smelted in here. That's all of that done. I'm hoping I've got enough. We're about to find out. Indeed I did. And I've got 3 to spare. So I'll grab the next stack of diamond blocks and turn all of those into diamonds and all of those into smithing templates. Although I'm thinking in this instance, I might need to get another stack of diamond blocks. Yeah, I definitely didn't get enough. This should do it. Or maybe not. Well, it's good to know that it takes about 3 stacks of diamond blocks for each one. That is kind of worrying, to be honest. But anyway, another one is done. Endstone is something that I have plenty of, so I don't need to go and farm that. And I can continue crafting. Next up is the snout one, which requires blackstone, and it's done. And that means I've done 10 out of the 16, which means there's just 6 to go. That's tide sorted, as well as ward, June, wild, and I would do wayfinder and shaper, but that requires almost 8 stacks of terracotta, something that I don't have. I do have a little bit of clay that I could smelt, but even that is nowhere near enough. So I'm going to put my best foot forward and fly to the nearest mesa. I know where one is. It's about 7,000 blocks away, but it'll be worth the journey because then I'll have all of the smithing templates and I'll actually be able to start applying it to the armor. Here we are. I know I've been here before. I'll just head to the beacon, place where I built a full one as well. And from there, I can just insta-mine all the terracotta. And even though technically I only need 8 stacks, I'm going to keep going until I fill the entire shulker box just so that I have enough for the future if I ever need more. That's that sorted. I've got a nether portal right here, which means I can get home faster. And I can craft all of the trims for shaper. And after mining a bit more of the diamond beacon, wayfinder as well. It's done. I can't believe it. It's hundreds and hundreds of days in the making, but I have every single smithing template that I need. I also have every single armor piece that... Oh, no, I don't. I am missing a few turtle shells. I need 48 shells to be precise, and that requires 240 scoots. But don't worry. Don't worry, I was prepared for this because I have a turtle farm. Yes, I built it about 500 days ago. It got me a lot of scoots so far because these turtles have all been working very, very hard. And I'm confident that they'll be able to get me over the line. And we've already got 35, so we've only got 205 to go, which means I'll get busy breeding and the turtles will get busy egg laying. And whenever an egg hatches, a baby will be able to fall down here and swim around. And when the baby grows up, it'll drop a scoot that goes and flows through here and into the hopper. Also, some of the babies don't get squashed and die. They just survive here. So let's get rid of these for now because, you know, we need the seagrass and you guys are completely useless to me. I mean, I've already got the scoots for them, so why would I keep them alive? And generally, the most egg hatching happens at about 3 a.m., which is a little bit off just yet. So I'm going to sit and wait here like the proud mother that I am. Well, I guess all you guys are the mothers. Oh, look at that. Look, you're going crazy laying. Just look at her go. Anyway, yeah, I'm just going to sit and wait till 3 a.m. It's getting close. And yes, there it is. It's the magical moment where all the eggs start cracking and the baby turtles are born. Fantastic. Just cool because it happens everywhere, all around. Just look at them all. Oh, now they're going crazy. We're going to get so many scoots after this. And it gives new space for pregnant turtles to lay their eggs. Perfect cycle. So yeah, I'm just going to keep letting this happen over and over again until I have 240 scoots. Progress on the farm has been nice and steady. I'm just going to have a look and see how much. Last I checked, I'll have 3 stacks in total. In fact, we're nearly there. So I'll just keep breeding and let the baby turtles grow. I'm now very, very close. In fact, I think I've got enough. I can hear the turtles up there growing and dying. And whilst that's not really good news for them, it's good news for me because I can craft all the missing turtle shells. Well, I could if I had space in the inventory, and these can be used to fill the shulker boxes. So I have all of the armor. I have all of the templates. So what am I missing? Well, I need 400 of each item that you use to apply a smithing template to the armor. These are the 10 different items that I need. I'll start easy and get all of the emeralds, then the redstone, the lapis, the amethyst shards, then quartz, copper, iron. This is where it starts getting trickier because I also need gold, which as you can see, I have 0 of. And the other one is diamonds, which I've got 6. And netherite, which, yes, you guessed it, I've got none. So I'll stick to the easy one to begin with, which is gold. Because I have a gold farm. It's very, very efficient. It works by having pigmen walk into portals. Then they die to fall damage, and the items are spat out the other side, where they all converge to this chest. Yes, it's coming through nicely, and it won't take me long at all to get 400. Probably AFK'd here a lot longer than I needed to. Anyway, okay, yeah. We've got plenty of gold. So I'll empty the chest and do the same for this one too. And this one. Wow. Okay, yeah, we're going to have spare gold, which is always nice. And from there, I can craft plenty of ingots, then take them home and add them to the shulker box, which leaves just diamond and netherite. And if you think I'm going out and doing any more mining, you're very much mistaken. Yes, okay, I know that I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm once again mining up more of the diamond beacon, which is sad, but I will repair it once again. Don't you worry. But even worse, yeah, the netherite beacon's got to go too. And that's the sad bit, because there is more ancient debris to mine at the netherite farm. I just don't have time to do that and get this video out. So I'm taking one for the team and removing the beacon once again. I'm actually going to grab 46 of these because I want to fly on down here and repair this. There's no point having a broken portal and a broken beacon. Might as well just be one or the other. And in here I can add in the netherite and also the diamonds. Now I know it looks like I don't have enough diamonds. I'm missing 4, but I have 6 in here, which means I've got all of them. And we're there. Finally, I've gathered up every single material I need to get every single armor trim combination. I thought this day would never come, but there is, in my opinion, still one major issue. It's a major issue that I'm gonna fix, and it'll definitely be worth it. You see, this project of getting every single armor trim has been a monstrous one. And to do all that, and then put all the armor trims in a very basic place like this. I mean, it's a very basic stand of blackstone stone bricks. There's no color, there's no excitement, there's no pizzazz. I think it's got to be taken down and rebuilt. Rebuilt to look way better. Now, that does unfortunately mean breaking every single armor stand, which might take a little bit of time. But trust me, in the grand scheme of things, it'll be worth it. Because once all the armor is on the armor stands, I can't really modify the build without it being a massive headache of replacing it all. So I might as well do it now whilst I still can. Finally, every single one is gone. That was a mission. It's probably going to take me just as long to replace them all. And now I'm going to grab a beacon and build it out of iron so that I can get haste 2. And then I can tear down the entire thing much faster. That's all the smooth stone removed, which is good because that's the thing that I can't insta-mine. So I'll get it all collected up. And now it's nothing but smooth sailing ahead. And project demolition is now complete. Meaning now I just have to go and gather up all the material. And the item that I'd say I probably need the most of is actually something that I've never built with before. It involves bamboo, which I do have plenty of in stock. I'm then going to take all of that bamboo and craft it into blocks. Well, I know bamboo is kind of easy to get, but all of this is only making a couple of stacks. It doesn't exactly go far, but it's still worth it because when I have it, it will look very, very cool. I'm going to go and actually get more bamboo from my bamboo farm, which can be found through this portal at spawn. And in theory, okay, well, we have got plenty of bamboo. I was going to say there should be some in here. Wasn't expecting that much. And that gets me plenty more blocks. I had to make a few repairs to the farm. This slime bit was broken and some of the hopper minecarts have stopped moving. But now it's back in full force. It's collecting it up nicely. I've got loads of bamboo blocks, almost all the ones I need. And as you can see, the harvesting is working as intended. I reckon at this point with all of these, I've got over a full shulker box. And I think combined with what I've got at home, I won't need more than that. Light blue concrete is another thing that I'm going to need plenty of. And also polished blackstone bricks and warped planks. Then the slabs of the blackstone bricks and a bit of green concrete. I actually need quite a bit more than what I had, so I'm going to have to use this machine to convert it all up. There is a load more other items needed, and one of them is crimson planks. Unfortunately, I've run out. I'll have to get busy mining up more. This particular tree is quite a tall one, so I reckon once I've mined it all up, I should have enough. Yep, pretty much. I'll get these ones for good measure and get back to grabbing the items. And I've now gathered up almost every single item that is needed. However, there is still one item that I'm a little bit low on, and that is bamboo blocks. I'm pretty fine with the actual bamboo blocks themselves because I only need 15 more of them. However, I also need bamboo stairs and bamboo slabs. Something that can quite easily be obtained when I turn all of this into blocks. So I'll do this to make some planks, and I can turn these into slabs. That's those pretty much sorted. I just need a few more, and it's barely any more, to be honest with you. Now I have all of them, and I can focus on getting 240 stairs. That's all of them sorted, and I'll bring back a few extra bamboo blocks for good measure. And now not much more can be done, so I'm going to fly back over to the site where the build will be. And in order to fit it in, I am going to have to do a little bit of mining of the terrain. Nothing too extensive. This is not that much bigger than what I already had, but it is a little bit, you know, because it's going to look better, so of course it's going to be a little bigger. But thankfully, the dirt is very, very easy and quick to mine. I was going to say if I come across any stone, that won't be a problem, because I have a haste 2 beacon, but I didn't come across any anyway, so it doesn't really matter. That is Operation Clear Out the Terrain complete, and I'll just chuck all this dirt away because I don't really have a use for it. And instead I can grab a few different materials and start building this, although the beacon is in the way. So yeah, I'm afraid the beacon's just gotta go. And I should probably mine the top layer last so that I have haste for as long as possible. You know, just to keep things at a nice high efficiency. And with that out of the way, I can get back to building. I've completed the base outline. I'll show you it from above. You can see how big it is, the kind of color scheme I'm going to be using. And from here, I'm going to keep layering it up. The stairs are going to look like this, and the armor stands, I think I'm going to put them so they go on top of the warp slabs. They can either go on the concrete or the warp slabs, doesn't really matter. But I think that way around will look better. I'm going to first build up this staircase because once this is done, it's just going to be a repeat of it over and over again. So it's going to be kind of easy. And I also want to bring this side up too. This side is going to look exactly the same as that side. And it's going to be cool. It's like black stone with red stripes. Also need to extend the terrain at some point. Should have kept some of them grass block. Anyway, there's no point worrying too much about that because I'm just going to continue to build this section up. I've now reached the max height that this staircase thing is going to be. So yeah, all the armor stands come up to here. Then at this point, there'll be a platform. But yeah, that's the side done. You can see from the side, it looks cool with the stripes. It's got the smoke towers. So I'm going to go ahead and fly to the other side and do the exact same thing here. And this side has also now been built up to the top. And so I'm now going to complete this wall, which is at the back. And that is now complete as well. We can get a good look at it. Because as you can see, that's why I needed so many bamboo blocks. And I think it's only fitting now that I finish the staircases where the armor stands go. Which is very straightforward and repetitive. That is operation complete, the staircase done. And now to add the bamboo floor, which is going to be like a decking area up here. I won't have anything at the top. It's just for decoration. It'll just make it look a little bit better and a little bit more complete. There we go. It's starting to look pretty good up here. And rather than finish off all the decorations at the top, I'm first going to get down all the armor stands. So the plan is on every single slab, there's going to be one place down, which is a pretty quick process, apart from the fact that there's 1,120 of them to go down. Looking pretty good. I think it's going to look amazing when all the actual armor's on them. So I shall do the same in the second section, and also the third, the fourth, and all the rest of them. And at this point, I do think it'd be cool to start getting some of the armor down. Like I say, the entire thing is not quite finished yet, but you can just kind of get a perspective of what it's going to look like. I also need another 160 armor stands at some point, because those are the extra ones that the turtle helmets will be going on. Anyway, let's start with leather. Let's just break the chest. It's going to be quicker, isn't it? And if we're really quick, we can put the chest back, and it's fine. Although in reality, I'm probably going to need a chest to put all the special boxes. So yeah, let's do that. I'm also going to need 40 of each trim, and I think I'm ready to go. I'm finally ready to start this mammoth project. Although, you know what? Before that begins, I've still got a lot of these items here. I should probably get them placed and out of the way, because once this stand is built, there's then nothing that can get in my way of finishing the entire build. And once I've done the process of forging every single armor, then the whole project will be finished. So I'm going to start with chains like this all the way around the outside, and then on top of those, there is going to be acacia trapdoors. And now I'm building these pillars up, and they're going to start to become archways. That's why there's going to be stairs there. We'll continue the wall, and these are going to connect, and that's going to happen all the way along. As they connect, they're going to start to create a roof. But to do that roof, I need to build these pillars up, and then connect up the blocks. There we go. That's complete. And I'll add a few extra archways at the top, just to make it perfect. Like that. And it's done. This is the new home of the armor trims. Doesn't it look so much better than the last one? Although there is still something just missing here. Yeah, I need to go and get another 160 armor stands. There we go. Now I'll place them all down. And with that done, there is just one final thing to do, which is to mine this up and add the poster to the center. Remember, I've signed every single one, and they're available on sp77.store. And now, the big moment can definitely begin. I need to get a smithing table, which I have right here. I'll place it down. Next, I need these items. I need 10 of each trim for the leather helmets, and 16 of each color. I think I've got the maths right for this, but we're about to find out. So, I'm going to start, I think I want silence at the bottom, and then I go diamond, emerald, redstone, and gold. That's all I actually have space for the inventory. So then I can place it down in that order. This is going to get very confusing very fast, isn't it? But I think I've got it. I need 6 more helmets. And if I just have one of the ingots in, then I can go through a lot faster and I won't get it wrong. I can't mess it up. I'm pretty sure. Can't believe I just used a netherite ingot on leather armor. But anyway, here we are. All the silence helmets are complete. And I'm going to do the exact same thing for host. But this time, I've got it worked out. So it's going to be much faster. Fantastic. It's actually working. Now for the rib armor trim, razor, vex, coast. And you know what? At this stage, I think you get the point. So there is all the rest. And I'll now do exactly the same for every single other piece of leather armor. And that is every single leather armor piece done. And I think next, rather than just move on to the chain one, I'm going to gather up every single shulker box and replace them with the turtle shells. I'll place them all down here because I think I'm going to make this middle section the place for the turtles. And so with everything ready, I can get started making them and placing them all down. And with that, every single turtle shell is done. And so once again, I can mine all of these up. And then I want to transport all of these across to the armor place. It might take me a bit of time because, as you can see, there is a lot. But I'll just put my best foot forward and get on with it. All have been transferred, which means I now just need to grab all of the other smithing templates, grab some more food, repair my tools, and fully complete this armor trim collection. And every single armor trim is almost done. Although we're missing that one and this one too. The reason for that is I accidentally used a smithing template twice on one piece of armor, so it kind of messed it up. So I need to grab 1 copper ingot. And I also need 7 diamonds, which is a bit of a problem. A problem solved by breaking yet another piece on the diamond beacon. I'm sorry guys, I know you hate it. But I'm going to use it to duplicate the razor trim, which means the final 2 pieces can be made and placed down. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I have every single armor trim combination in Minecraft. Now to build this weather machine, I'll need a lot of materials. And I'll need to complete 3 phases. Phase 1, gather everything I need and downgrade my world to 1.12 without corrupting it. Then in phase 2, I will create a massive perimeter to store the weather machine. And finally, in phase 3, I'll build everything which will give me the power to control the weather and the lightning. Now unfortunately, when you downgrade a world to 1.12, certain items get deleted even though they're in that version. So instead of slime blocks, I need slime balls. Instead of powered rails, I need sticks, gold, and redstone. And instead of colourful concrete, I've got to use boring blocks like stone and dirt. And since I'm digging a perimeter, I'll need a lot of redstone items, and thankfully pistons, observers, and redstone blocks all downgrade fine. And so now I'm going to get to work crafting and gathering every single item that I need. And this is every single item. Well, almost. Because I'll also have to make sure I have all the needed tools and plenty of food. For the tool side, I can just come to my bedrock factory and grab the ones that I use for that. I'm also going to need a very special item, and it's one that no matter what, I can't lose. Yes, the dragon egg. So there it is. And the reason it just gave me the advancement again is that I've downgraded my world before and you lose all your advancements, so that's the reason for that. You can safely go into there. And the final thing I want is an entire shulker box worth of chests. But getting that requires a lot of wood, which I can now get from a new source. Not only can I get it from mining away at this tree farm, but now I can use bamboo. As you can see, I've got quite a lot of it, which I can take out, turn into blocks, and then use to make planks and chests. And the best thing is, whilst I'm busy mining away at the tree farm, the bamboo will nicely be growing in the background. Well, I stopped paying attention and at some point my axe broke. Oh well. And we're overflowing with wood. The good thing is I'm overflowing with enough wood to get all the chests that I need. And that's it. I've now got every single item. Apart from the fact that I do need a new axe. And I do need to make it netherite. And I am ready for the downgrade. And the reason for creating this insane weather machine is not just because it looks cool, but it also allows you to get thousands of these skeleton traps every minute. And these have a very rare chance to drop a Protection 8 gold helmet, which is what I'm gonna get. And if I'm insanely lucky, I can get a Protection 6 diamond helmet, which I can eventually turn to netherite, and I'll be one of the only players to own one of them. And speaking of helmets, I have released new beanies on sp77.store. They come in 5 different colours, and at the moment it's winter, it's freezing, these will keep your head warm, and yes, I have ears by the way. Here's something you don't see every day, it's me wearing a hat, but it's comfy, just maybe not built for a headset. And whilst you're on the store, you can also get the very cool signed armor trim poster. I've personally signed every single one of these, and I think it might be my favourite poster. And I'm going to keep the beanie on whilst I do it just for good measure. So the first step for this successful downgrade is we must go to the correct location. And the place that I need to fly to get there is about 10,000 blocks in this direction. This right here is the spot. It's kind of specific. I'll explain why in a moment, but what I'm going to do is build a nether portal, head on through. Then I need to dye these shulker boxes blue because 1.12 deletes light grey ones. And then it's downgrade time. To make sure my spawn chunks don't get loaded and overwritten by 1.12, I'm going to go into the world save folder, then the region folder, and I'll select these 4 files. Then I'll right click properties and make them read only. And now when I load this world in 1.12, the downgrade has been successful. And now phase 2 can begin, which is to dig a massive perimeter. Although this spot right here is not where it will be. You see, the weather machine is split into 2 sections. The part that controls the weather cycle, which is right here, and then the part that will control the lightning, which is 20,000 blocks in this direction. So I'm going to build a portal here, and once I go through, I'll break this one right here, which is apparently going to take a while, and then I'm going to try and spot an enderman, because I completely forgot to bring the pearls and a ladder. And whilst I'm roving, it's probably a good idea for me to make some rockets. And if you're wondering why the textures aren't the old 1.12 ones, that's just because I'm using a texture pack that keeps the modern ones. So I do think that they look way better. I'm going to repair this portal and just look for an enderman out here, because it is nighttime. There we go. That was way faster. Now to get rid of you, he dropped the pearl. And I also need a little bit of wood. Just okay, well, I'm getting attacked from all angles here. I better a little bit of wood is enough. And this time I really can go back to the nether. I really can break this portal, and I can go above the bedrock by digging a tunnel up, finding a good spot, then throwing an ender pearl at the ladder. Straight up, no problem. And now I'm going to spend a bit of time improving my gear, because Silk Touch is going to be very useful, and so will Looting 3 when I eventually get it. At this point, I haven't had much joy on getting what I need, but I can now add Unbreaking to the Elytra, but I have ended up with a lot of very useful items. Speaking of useful items, I'm now going to take out the dragon egg, as well as some redstone and the torches. From there, I need to lower my render distance down to 2, and we're going to break bedrock using this little fella. So I start off with a piston like that, with a torch there and the egg on top. And then with redstone, I'm going to run it so that it goes outside of the rendered chunks. So once I pass here, yep, we should now be far away enough. We're then going to just power it on and off a little bit. And when I return, the egg is gone and it has fallen below and broken the bedrock. From there, I can get it back, but I've got to do a little bit of piston pushing downwards to do it, which is a little bit finicky. But basically, I'll just push a block into it, and then, yeah, you see it popped off. We've got it back. I can then repeat the process to get rid of that one, like so. And as you can see, it was successful. And I basically just repeat this until I have a hole that I can get through. I reckon this time might be the right one. Yep, we are down to netherrack, so I can place the ladders down, put everything back, and build a brand new portal. This should work fine and link me going through this way. Yep, looking good. I'm going back through. It should also take me up here. Yep, nicely done. In 1.12, if you build a portal above the bedrock, it will not work sending you back the other way, which is why I had to go slightly underneath. But with that done, I can build a nice tall tower that I can see from far away. Then I need to fly very far away in this direction. And this right here is the spot, and I'm going to do the exact same thing again to break even more bedrock. And this has been done successfully, and you're probably going to have to get used to seeing that because there's going to be a lot of bedrock breaking done in this video. And it actually makes the dragon egg useful for once. So I've made the portal, I liked it. I don't have any ladders left to place them there. But as you can see, we're in a place full of wood. So I'll chop a few trees, make some sticks and ladders, and get them placed down. I'm also going to take this opportunity to finally get that looting sword, since now that I have sticks, I can craft more, and hopefully get it pretty soon. But we'll have to see. I just keep getting Bane of Arthropods at the moment. Finally, we've got it! Looting 3. Okay, and you know what? That's pretty good. And when combined with some other stuff, it gives me one that is pretty good. And now this is where the fun can begin, because this is where I'm going to build a massive perimeter. The area cleared is going to be an 18 chunk by 18 chunk area, and I'll be building a load of world eaters to destroy it. And I've worked out that this is the very corner of it, so it's going to cover this entire area, which means I have the joy of taking my sponge and removing a lot of water. Little ones like these are not too bad at all, but it's the parts where I have to deal with the rivers that are a bit more annoying. I'm trying to avoid that with my placement, but maybe a little has to go. And I'm also tired of not being able to sleep, so I'm going to have to get rid of a few sheep, and then I can craft a bed and not have to deal with mobs anymore at night. Got a nice little camp set up here. All these slime balls can become slime blocks. They're actually going to be what I use for the world eater. And I do think dirt's going to be useful for removing a bunch of this, so I'm going to grab that as well. And that way I can easily wall off the deeper areas that need to be removed. And I might as well remove these trees at the highest point, because if anything is going to break the world eater, it will be these guys. I've started dividing up the area. It's probably the biggest part to do as well, so I'm going to put it off and do some of these easier bits. It's also annoying that it's been done in an area where there's just so many trees, but with the way that this farm works, it has to be built here. I'll explain fully later on. And we're sadly in a version where hoes do not break sponges faster. That didn't come in till 1.16, so it's the method of slowly mining with my fist that we'll have to do. And sponges also don't instantly dry in the nether in this version. That was added in 1.15, so I'll have to use a furnace to dry them all later on. And at this point, I think I've got rid of all the little pools of water, and so it's just these bigger areas that are left. So in preparation for that, I'm going to grab some furnaces, dry out all of the sponge, and get rid of all of the water. And that is section number 1, all completely drained. And now it's time to do this big area right here. All drained, nicely done, which just leaves this river that I need to remove. And that's something I can do whilst my sponge dries, because I'm probably going to need all of it to remove this massive river. Mission accomplished, fantastic, but, well, this bit's okay, I don't need to worry about that. However, I did notice 1 or 2 little bits here and there that I missed. And I also think it would be a good idea for me to remove this pool of water here because it will be under the machine. But once that's done and dusted, I can begin making the world eater. And at last, it is done. Draining this spot took way longer than I thought. I didn't think it was going to be that big, but at least I don't have to worry about it anymore. And as far as I'm aware, I've got rid of every single bit of water here that needs to go. Which means I can now begin the next project and build the world eater. I've put every single item needed in my inventory. The rest can just stay in here. I'll also quickly repair this shovel because it is so close to breaking. And now the build can begin. It all starts with a bit of slime right here. It's actually very annoying to build these because once you place an observer in this version, it activates when you do it. So it keeps activating my machine and moving everything when it's not supposed to every time I trigger an observer. So basically, it just means I have to be a little bit more selective in the order that I build things. Although even then, it's still causing me trouble. I can kind of just do it like this and it should... no, it's just going worse. Not to worry. Once I've worked out to do it, I have to do it loads more times, but I'll have it worked out soon. I just have to make sure that I place the observers first and then the pistons afterwards. That way, nothing should move by mistake. Or alternatively, I can place obsidian so that the piston can't extend. Sometimes it's all just about coming up with a way to outsmart the system. And this little unit here is now officially done, finally. And work can begin on the return pad system, which is hopefully a little bit less painful. Well, now that I know to be careful about the order that I place the observers, things are going quite a bit more smoothly. And with the return pad now successfully built, I'm going to build a load more of these world eater machines all the way along here, starting first from this spot. Progress is definitely much better now that I understand what I'm doing, and obsidian is helping so much. Another one's done nice and quickly, as well as the return pad. And now to get busy building the rest of this entire machine. And at long last, it is now finished. So let's fly over to this side. And I need to move all these items because otherwise they're just going to get blown up from above. And also, when I repair my shovel, I should just do it with a brand new one, then it costs less diamonds. Don't know why I didn't think of that before. And I'll also mine away this platform, otherwise it'll block the TNT that's meant to go down there. The chest can instead be safely stowed over here with an obsidian wall just for extra protection. And then to activate each machine, I need to activate this observer here. So I'm just going to do it with a redstone block. We go like that, and there it goes. Releasing the TNT, and then I can break this. It will just keep going backwards and forwards itself now. Today is not a good day to be a sheep. And then when it eventually reaches the other side, it goes into here, moves along, and sends it back. The TNT doesn't blow it up, the TNT goes down there. And from there, it just keeps going backwards and forwards. So I'll activate the other ones as well. There we go. Every single one is flying. I don't think any of them are broken so far. These random blocks you see floating around are just purely visual glitches as well. Because look, if I place a dirt next to it, it just disappears. I need to make sure I go around and remove any water or lava that it produces. So really, it just involves a lot of flying around for SP737. And it looks like a lot of water in some places, but really, it's just a pool. And once you get rid of that, all of that will go. So it's not too bad at all. It's a fairly quick process. I'd say it's the lava that's the harder bit. I'm hoping that there's no lava pools, but as we get lower, there will be lava lakes and stuff. So that's what's going to take me a bit more time. Because with water, it's easy. You just place a load of sponge and it's gone instantly. Okay, well, that wasn't exactly part of the plan. Note to self, do not land on the sponge that you're placing. And here we have one of these stupid lava lakes. So yeah, this is where it will get a lot more annoying. I mean, it's not super deep, but I can't use scaffolding because we don't have it in this version. And actually, to be fair, it wasn't that bad. This bottom piston is coming off and getting stuck, which then stops these from going back. So I'm going to see what happens if I go like this. Does anything happen? No. Apparently that piston is kind of crucial, but I suppose it's good because it means I can control this a little bit and I can go through now and get rid of any water without worrying too much about things getting out of hand. But it will also slow me down a little bit. I don't know why it's doing that. It never did it in testing, but anyway. I should concentrate on the more important things, like getting another totem and getting these machines back to how they should be, as well as removing water. That's kind of important too. All pistons have now been removed and added back over there as needed. I'll get rid of this water and also this down here. And my elytra just broke. Now, where are the spare ones? Okay, there are some in there. They're not the ones that I put on breaking through on, but they'll have to do for now. And the really good news is I've worked out why the machine wasn't going back and forth and why the pistons were getting stuck. And it's literally because I was using a redstone block to activate it, which was then pushing a piston that shouldn't. So if I instead just use a normal block, the machine sets off and the piston stays here, which is much more like what's supposed to happen. Also, unfortunately, one of the machines seems to have blown itself up, so I'm just going to leave it there and not worry about it. The way this works, even if there's certain segments missing, the perimeter still can be made. So that's good news at the very least. And on top of that, they are all now activated. And hopefully all working fine. I can see more lava and water, so I'll keep removing it so that it doesn't become a problem. Also, try not to blow yourself up, SP737. This is a bit tight. 1 heart. Yeah. I should be more careful with this. Don't be removing water when there's TNT coming straight for you. I've not really felt overwhelmed with the amount of water and lava that I've had to deal with. It's also more annoying when you have to deal with obsidian because there was some water out here. But that's why I got myself a good pickaxe, because you've got to be ready to deal with all sorts of stuff. And at this point, everything seems to be working fine, so let's just get this perimeter done. No! Okay, we're just gonna blow it up. Yep. Never mind. Not what I meant to happen, but I guess it got rid of it faster than expected. For this one, I'm going to break the TNT first and then the rest of it. And that does seem to be a much safer option. And anyway, I'm then going to use those materials to build some more world eaters that are a bit lower down so that they manage to reach bedrock. That is this bit of it done. But of course, I also need the return pad, which is a little bit low, and build up a new one right here. That's that done. And I'm not going to build as many of these little TNT tubers as I had before. Instead, I'm going to do half as many so that it doesn't take me as long to build. And all that means is I'll just have to run each one for twice as long. Slowly but surely, I'm building more of these machines. Right here, we've got the 5th one finished. And now I'm going to go ahead and build another 5. And there we have it. They're all successfully built on this side. I'm going to patch up the water on this side, which also needs doing in this spot too. It's just way, way bigger. And then I can start removing the rest of these at this side and build new ones right here. That's all of them built and sorted. And now I can get the rest of the perimeter dug. I've almost cleared all the lava. As you can see, it's pretty much there. This TNT is just going for extra effect. And the way I've done it is pretty much to place dirt and mine it away. Or, if I've needed to, I could also use buckets. Only issue with doing that is I've not got much iron left now. I've nearly gone through an entire shulker box. And it's also mined all the obsidian that has taken quite a bit of time. And that's almost all the lava over here drained away. Just got to remove these bits and this over here. And it's also going to be helpful for now for me to leave those bottom bits of lava here. I'll explain why later. First things first, I'm going to get rid of this final area. And I think that's that. I think all of this lava is now gotten rid of for pretty much the entire perimeter. And now I can give you an explanation. This lightning farm works through something called RNG manipulation. RNG stands for random number generation. And during every single game tick, Minecraft is constantly generating random numbers to decide if certain things should happen. Such as when a sapling should grow, or when grass should spread, or which mob should spawn, what the weather should be, when lava creates fire, when lightning should spawn, and much, much more. And when the game decides where to create a lightning strike, any chunk within 128 blocks that is to the west of the player is checked. And if it contains any lava, grass, crops, leaves, fire, or vines, it could then make the lightning spawn somewhere else some of the time. So by removing all of these, the lightning will strike in the same place every single time. And because when you downgrade a world in Minecraft, the seed always goes to seed 0, I know that the seed of this world is seed 0, and I know that the lightning will strike in this spot, providing that there is no lava to the west, so this way. So I'm going to use my buckets and dirt to remove it all. And every now and again, there will be times where there is lava actually trapped underneath the bedrock. It's kind of rare, but it can happen. I'll know if it's there because I will have removed all the lava, but still be able to hear it. And the way to do that is just to use the dragon egg by placing it there, and then lower the render distance to 2, so that when I deactivate the piston, the bedrock will be broken, and if there was lava underneath, I could access it. So yeah, that's what I need to do. So I'm just going to get busy removing all this lava. And that, from what I can tell, is all of the lava dealt with. If I miss the odd bit here and there, it won't affect the farm too much, but I'm pretty sure I've dealt with all of it that needs to go. And so the area is now ready to build the lightning farm. However, if you've not got a thunderstorm, a lightning farm is not very useful. So I'm just going to quickly break this little machine here, and then I'm going to build part 1 of this farm, which is the weather machine. And when you consider how complex the builds in this video are going to be, The weather machine part is actually very straightforward. How it works is a little bit complicated, but the build itself is pretty small and pretty effective. So I've picked out every single item I'm going to need, and then I'm going to use the glass to make a bit of a platform. Then I can head through, and it connects to my portal right here. Thank goodness for that. We would have had a problem if it didn't work properly. And next I'm just going to build a very tall tower so I have a bit of a marker, which should make it easy to find that portal. Then I fly in this direction because we have got to go back to the original location. There it is. I know you've been wondering all this time why I built a portal over here. Why did I need to travel between? Well, all will be revealed because now it is time for me to explain how the weather machine works. Once again, this uses RNG manipulation, and both the weather machine and lightning farm use what I'm about to explain. In a Minecraft world, lots of things happen randomly, but if you use a certain seed, the world generation will always be the same, which means structures will also always be in the same place. And Minecraft is made up of regions that are 80 by 80 chunks in size. Inside these regions, one woodland mansion will attempt to spawn in the same place every time if you're using the same seed. When doing this, for a split second, it resets the world RNG to a specific number, which is different in every region. And every time you load a chunk inside a region, it will reset the entire world RNG again and again. So if we know the seed, we know what the RNG is going to be set to. And because I've downgraded my world to 1.12, I know that the seed is 0. And I also know right now that I'm in a region where the RNG will give me a thunderstorm, which is why I came to these exact coordinates. So I'll build the weather machine and explain how it works. So this right here is the platform that I'm going to stand on. And right here, I need a bed. Why do I need a bed? Well, when you sleep in Minecraft, of course it resets time so that it is day. But before 1.17, it would also reset the weather cycle to a random amount. And that random amount would determine how long until it starts raining and how long until it starts thundering. But if I load a chunk in this region, just as it's resetting the weather cycle to a random value, I can decide what that random value is. I can manipulate that random value so that a thunderstorm happens in just 10 minutes rather than the usual wait time of around 6 hours. I hope it all makes sense. I've really simplified the explanation as much as I can, but it's still a complicated thing. But I'll link videos with much more detailed explanations in the description. And because my render distance is set to 12, this chunk here will be unloaded and will get loaded when the redstone reaches the end. And this chunk is going to get loaded by the hopper. Because I'm manipulating the weather, it has to be a hopper that loads the chunks, not redstone line. It's just the way the RNG works. I'm not going to explain it here. But basically, for a split second, this torch will get turned off and an item will get sent into the chest, which will load the chunk. And I must now layer this redstone all the way down. And that is all of it done. The delay that is set through these repeaters combined with all the other redstone means that the moment I wake up, the chunk will be loaded, which will set the weather cycle at the perfect time. So now I've just got to wait for the sun to go down. Whilst I do that, I can probably mine up all this glass. I just had this here for chunk alignment. The sun's going down. I can get into the bed. And now that I've got out of bed, I know that the thunderstorm is going to start in exactly 10 minutes and 22 seconds. So I might as well get out of here and head to where the lightning farm's gonna be. Here we are. And I can actually build a little bit of this farm before the thunderstorm starts. Now this right here is the platform where the lightning is gonna strike. But it'll only strike there if I am stood in a very specific spot, which is right here. It doesn't matter what height I'm at, but I have to be at this X and Z coordinate. So I'm gonna build upwards and then build a long redstone line that will go to the edge of the render distance and load chunks, which will spawn lightning. I've got to be pretty quick because the sun's going down, which means the thunderstorm's going to start, but hell, I'll just get busy with the redstone. It's happening. It's raining. What did I tell you? The sun's going down and the thunderstorm is starting. And here's the interesting thing. Because we're in an area where loading chunks makes lightning strike, if I fly into this area, look at this. Loads of lightning is going off. You can see, look, one there. Did we just... Okay, well, we just got one of these. Look at that. This is what I mean. We're in a lightning strike region. And these exist in the world where you can just get more strikes by loading in the chunks. You see, like, a lot of happening. It's very cool, but as I said, we want these to all happen in a specific spot, which is why we need the redstone sorting, which shouldn't be too much trouble at all. All the redstone's down, and this is a new chunk that, when loaded, will spawn the lightning. I've added that platform so that you can see the lightning better. And if I push this button, lightning will strike. If I then pause the game a few times to save and unload the chunks and push it again, it strikes again. And I can just keep doing this over and over again, and we can keep getting lightning on that platform. And if I build the redstone out so it reaches another chunk, and if I pause and unpause the game a few times, you'll see 2 lightning strikes spawn. And then if I extend this out loads of chunks in this direction, you'll see that the thunderstorm decides to stop. Okay, that's kind of annoying, but don't worry, because I'll just head through this portal, fly in this direction, head down here through this portal, and since it's now night, I can sleep, which will soon give me the thunderstorm. And whilst I wait, I have completely run out of food, and I'm getting very, very hungry. I can't even sprint. So I'm going to hunt for some animals to eat. At the moment, I can only see chickens. I prefer cows. Well, these will just pick me up for a little bit. I wish I'd just remembered to bring more food, because it would have saved a lot of time. But anyway, you probably want to see how this farm's going to work, but before that, yeah, I have to wait. And not far from where I am, there's a desert pyramid, and there's a village, as well as more food. And I'll also use these horses to get leather, so I can repair my elytra. And as I've still got to wait another couple of minutes before it thunders, I'm just going to keep expanding the bridge. I must have messed up the chunk loading, because for some reason it didn't work. So if I use it again, and place loads more blocks whilst I wait, I will this time get a thunderstorm. And this part's ready for us. Let's see in action. We'll pause and unpause the game as usual. Press this button and just look at all the lightning strike, and then I can unpause like this and I can do it again and it'll just do that. And it is so cool. Just by doing this, you can do it over and over and over again. But this much lightning is not enough. I want this to load hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of chunks in a row so that I get hundreds and hundreds of lightning strikes in a row. And just to clarify, the redstone is loading a new chunk every single tick. And when it does that, it sets the RNG value to a certain number that will make a lightning strike happen. And when it does that, it sets the RNG back to a certain number that will make the lightning strike in a certain location. And the reason I need to come to this location to get the value for the right lightning strikes is because I use a tool by Earth Computer where you just enter your seed and it tells you where you need to go. And my plan now is just to place down all the redstone I need. We're going to get rows and rows and rows of it. And it's going to be epic. And that is all the stone down that I'm going to need. It should load every needed chunk. And now I just need to layer it up with redstone. And as I place the redstone into this chunk, it is done. And as you can see, it covers an absolutely massive area, which is going to give me so much lightning. But of course, we actually want to see it in action. So I'll have to wait till it's nighttime to use the weather machine to get a thunderstorm again. In the meantime, I'm just going to do some item sorting. And now the sun has gone down, so let's get that thunderstorm on the way. And I'm going to move this portal upwards too. That's much better. And it connects correctly too. And since I have now still got to wait a little bit for it to start, I think I'm going to build a bit more of this farm. For example, this platform where the lightning strikes is also going to need trapdoors on it. And since the player is going to be stood down here, I need the redstone to connect up there. To do that, I'm going to craft some stone slabs. And then I'm going to tower them upwards with redstone on top that creates something like this. And it's an easy way to send a signal upwards. That's the job done. It is now connected, but for now, because I'm still going to use this button just to show you what's happening, I'll connect this up like so. Any moment now, the thunderstorm should start. There we go. It's coming down. And when I push this button, we should get a ridiculous amount of lightning over there. Are you ready? As it loads all the chunks one by one, look at it go. What have we created, ladies and gentlemen? Doesn't it look epic? And it's just going to keep going over and over again until every bit of redstone is loaded, which takes about 45 seconds. And the issue is with this, of course, that we don't just want lightning. I mean, what use would that be? Yeah, it looks cool, but there's not much more to it. No, if we can summon loads and loads of skeleton traps, we can get the very rare Protection 6 and Protection 8 helmets. And to get them to spawn, I'm going to need armor stands. If I open every single trapdoor and place armor stands on top, it will cause the lightning to strike the armor stands instead, and it will make the skeleton trap spawn. But then the skeleton horse will just kind of stand up here and be stuck. And if I open the trapdoor so it can fall down, the armor stand will fall down. So how am I going to get around this? It's a pretty simple solution, but I need a spider to do it. Perfect. There's two of them right here. Next, I craft a trusty fishing rod, and I need to add 2 blocks into the corners. And this is just for alignment, because now if I go ahead and fishing rod the armor stand and pull. Okay, well, I didn't mean to do that, guys. But that's what happens if you open the trapdoors anyway. Let me just get you back. But yeah, if I hook the armor stand and don't look at the trapdoor and pull, you'll see it comes up to this corner. And now when we open the trapdoor, it stays. But if a skeleton trap spawns here, it will fall. Very neat little solution. I was very proud of myself when I found it. A lot of other farms get the horses to just spawn on top of walls and then they fall through, but for me that never worked. They would never spawn on the walls. So this is my solution. All of them are in place. Do you want to see what happens when I now push the button? Here we go. It should start spawning lightning. Okay. I think the thunderstorm has ended. It's just rain now. Okay, you'll have to wait a little bit longer to see what happens. And I'll have to wait until it's night again to activate this machine. Looks like the sun has finally set. This time I can actually sleep. And so the building can continue. Now just to clarify, I could make it so that there was thousands of redstone between the 2 portals so that I could just press a button from one side and it would activate that chunk miles and miles away at the perfect time. But since they're like 3,000 or 4,000 blocks away, I just didn't think it would be worth it. I just think it makes more sense just to fly between. It's quite complicated. You got to use permaloads as well to make it all work. So I didn't want to do that. And whilst I wait to show you what will happen next when I push this button in a thunderstorm, I am going to build the next part of this farm, because I will need some sort of system that will collect and process all of the horses that fall. I'm telling you, there's going to be tens of thousands of them, okay? It's a ridiculous amount. It's so fast. So the system has to be very, very well made to process them all without lagging the game out completely as well. As you can probably guess, this is the chute that all of the skeleton traps will fall down. But yeah, if I just kill them with fall damage, all they will drop is bones and arrows. They won't drop any XP. They won't drop any armor. And armor is the key thing. I don't care about the XP. So I will also have to hit them as they go down. Okay, that's part of it. But we want to see this in action, don't we? We want to see the armor stands now. So I just perch myself in the middle here. Press this button. And look at it. Now, every single time one of them falls. Okay, some of those trapdoors I didn't open, which wasn't super smart. Also, I haven't got it so that loads and loads of the chunks load, because that would just, you know, be too many of the horses to deal with. Oh, and you can see, okay, well, you can just see what happens there. I said, you guys just like strafe off and fall in the holes. That would just be great. I need to... Whoa, you broke my armor stands and all. What's that all about? But anyway, you can see how it works. I'm going to get rid of this thunderstorm because I don't need to show you again. Instead, I'll build the system that processes the horses. And I know I started placing ice there, but I think it's going to be easier if I start from here and work my way upwards. I'm going to begin with the bits that makes it so that I can hit the horses as they fall, and then I can get the armor from them when they drop to their doom. And it's going to be a pretty simple system to do this. It's just going to be a gate that opens and closes based on the timings of a hopper clock. You've seen me build these many times before. It's just a couple of hoppers that are going into each other with comparators either side, and then sticky pistons that move a redstone block. I'm going to put 4 items in here, and that makes the gate open every now and again, but I don't want it to keep doing that forever. So for now, I can turn it off by flicking a lever like this. Then I can continue bringing the glass upwards, and because the player's going to be standing here, I've got a trapdoor that's going to jam them into a certain spot, but I'm also going to need a cake. Since a cake was the only item with the right hitbox size, however, I'm not hungry enough yet to eat all of it. I need it just to be a little slither. So I'll finish eating that when I'm a bit more peckish. There's also going to be a trapdoor here. So I'm going to be stood like in this kind of area, swinging like this over and over. Can also eat another bit. Wait, can we eat all of it? I think that's all we need. Let's just see. Will we fit in? I'm not sure. Oh, no, we will fit in. I just need to place a bit of a roof over my head. So now when I go in, we can only go this way and that way, but I need something else that's going to jam me up against this, because if I move back, I might not hit all of the skeletons that I need to. And to do that, we're going to use a boat. A boat pushed up against a double chest just so happens to be the perfect size for what we need here. So if I put that like that and get up to that corner, and then I can jam it in with an iron bar here. So now I can't move backwards. The only way I can move is this way, but we can only go so far that way as well. And now, when I get myself in here, locked in, if I do push against that, it pushes me back. So it keeps me in a pretty small position, really, doesn't it? And from here, it's now back to placing packed ice, because the horses need to get pushed down here. You can kind of see how it's going to work. I'm going to use ice as water, because it's just a much more compact way to carry it. It flows just far enough. And then this wall can be brought up even further with the ice added in too. This is where I can add even more of an explanation to the farm. Why did I make the player stand at this Y level? Why did I make him stand underneath this water? Well, for a skeleton horse to become 4 of them and get the skeletons on top with the armor, you have to have the player within 10 blocks. So if the player is stood under here, that'll mean that the horses will be close enough. So there's my ice. Now's the time to get the water down, and it just flows down nicely. Now these walls just need to be built up quite a bit more, and then we can turn a corner and start adding even more ice, which will eventually connect to that one. It really is starting to come together, isn't it? I don't have that much ice left, but if I place it all along here towards the end and break it, the water just flows all the way down and stops at the very end. Very nice indeed. And whilst I still do need to build a massive collection system so I can process the items and sort out the helmets, I think we should start a thunderstorm and see it in action. I kind of want to see how it's looking. My lights just broke and I just popped a totem. And I don't think I have any spare ones left. I think I used them all. So now I'm going to have to be a lot more careful. And I didn't bring another elytra, so yeah, we're going on foot. This is going to take forever. Despite that, I've successfully made it and can go to sleep. And I can walk back. And it's taken me that long to get back that it's already thunderstorming. I'll get these new elytra on, and I can change this so that the redstone connects all to that and will connect from down there. Then I just get myself into here, flick this lever upwards, and we should be getting loads of lightning. You can see it up there. Loads of them are spawning one after the other, and as they get close to me, they're all getting struck by lightning and transformed. And as you can see, I'll just be here hitting them. But of course, the situation still remains that once they get to the bottom, there is just loads of XP here and loads of items. If I have this running constantly... That was tight. I forgot I don't have a totem. And these guys really do pack a punch. Yeah, I really do not like the fact that I'm building this farm without totems. So I'm going to get more food, repair my armor, and get busy building a system that will collect every single item up. Now what's going on here is the items and XP are going to be sent into here and sent onto a slime block. That block will be pushed by a piston, shooting the items and the XP upwards, and that allows me to get rid of the XP but keep the items. I'll show you how when it's actually in action. Right now I think I need to pop to the nether to get some magma because I can't find any. But thankfully it is very, very easy to find. That's going to go right there and it will get rid of any rogue mobs that have survived because they have really, really good armor. So the mobs will land here, they will die, their items will get pushed by the pistons into this one hole and then pushed into the water. And I just need to get all of this connected to some redstone that will act as a bit of a clock. And as you can see, when I flick this lever, they're all moving. Every single thing is extending. And that means I can continue to expand the glass upwards. I'm going to grab myself a load more wood, because to finish this build, I'm going to need 62 signs. That should be enough wood, and that should be enough signs. I'll need one here to hold back some water, and one here to hold back more as well. And this is where the items are going to be carried along. That's why I've got this water. And for the XP, it's not going to turn out so well, because we're going to have another sign here with lava at the top right here. So the items will go to this height and flow along, but the XP will go higher and burn. I'm literally just doing that so that it makes the farm way less laggy. That's the mob chute completely filled in. And at this point, I now need to build a massive item sorter. Now, I could have mobs at the bottom that can pick up items if I was only trying to get diamond helmets, because then they pick up the good diamond helmets and discard everything else. But that unfortunately doesn't work when you want to get gold helmets, which is why I'm about to build this massive elaborate system. It's not that complicated, it's just basically a massive item sorter that you've seen me build many times before. So I shall now get busy building it. And this is done. And now I need to fill up all these hoppers, so I'm just using these items which I've got as blockers. And then this slot is filled with bones or arrows so that no other items can get in. They're all done, and these other ones can now be filled with bones. Perfect, so that's all the bones dealt with, that's all the arrows dealt with, and it's also the XP dealt with. But these mobs will also drop a ridiculous amount of bows along with the armor pieces. So I'm now going to add a system here that will destroy all the bones by burning them in a furnace. And there's going to be hoppers that are all facing that way, and that is where all the armor will go, somewhere over there. The furnace will be on top of here, and then there'll be an observer facing into it. Then there'll be a dropper facing into the furnace. If the item's a bow, it will go into the furnace. If the item in the dropper is not a bow and it's an armor piece, it'll go into these hoppers and flow along. This little contraption here creates a 10-second delay when an item goes into the furnace, so that no other bows filter down there whilst the furnace slot is filled. I'll add a few more hoppers going into this one so that all the items definitely get collected. And that's the first module complete. You won't see in action until the farm is actually in use. But I am now going to build another 39 of them to keep up with the sheer amount of items that this farm produces. The design of that little module is Bile Mango. It's very, very nice indeed. And I'm going to build all the modules starting from this far end because then it's much easier to place the hoppers facing the correct way. Once this is done, the farm is so close to being done, so I'll put my best foot forward and get to work. And with all of that done, all of the bows will be disposed of, leaving the armor to converge into this chest. But each thunderstorm will bring me hundreds and hundreds of armor pieces because there'll be that many of the horses spawning. So to deal with that, I'm going to build 2 shulker box loaders so that nothing gets overrun. And that is it done. It's just a simple shulker box loader by El Mango. The furnace bits are also by El Mango too. Right here, I'm building a little area where I can easily check and destroy the shulker boxes. Once I put the flints in here, that should do it. It lights it on fire and destroy. Yep, it'll work. Trust me. You can see it in action later. I'll make this platform a little bit bigger so I don't have to walk on uneven bedrock. And it'll also be useful later on if under these chests there is a glass platform. And at this point, it does look like it's completely done. We're about to see it in action, which is going to be amazing. But first, we do need to fill all of these furnaces up and hoppers with cobblestone. That way the bows will actually be destroyed. That's all of them filled. And these chests also need to be completely filled to the top with shulker boxes. I'll be constantly topping these up as I sift through all the items. And I need a couple of shulkers here to be in the loaders. And with that, it is now for sure all ready. So I'm going to get myself over here, fly across, which is a lot better when you don't have to walk. And once the sun sets, I can get a thunderstorm on the way. The thunderstorm's in full flow. I've checked and everything seems to be working. So if I push this button, lightning will start striking on that platform. And this will keep happening for 45 seconds until the next autosave. As the horses get close to me, they'll be struck with lightning and be turned into 4. And I will keep hitting them with looting 3 so that they can drop their armor with an 11% chance. From there, they die to 4 damage at the bottom. And the XP and the items are pushed up here. As you can see, the XP is burning, but the items are not. And then the items go through the sorter, which filters out the bows into furnaces. And then the armor pieces go into this chest, where the shulker boxes are filled. It looks like the thunderstorm has stopped, and every 45 seconds after an autosave to keep the farm going, I have to repress the button. So we're going to build something that stops me from having to do that. But before that, I just want to see what's come through. We've got a shulker box of items here. The worrying thing is that there is bones and arrows that have got through, which means something's not right. I think it's because when I first started the machine, I forgot to flick this lever and I only put it on halfway through. So a massive clump of bones and arrows went through that the machine wasn't designed to handle. But that shouldn't happen again. It did just cause some backlog. So we're looking for the gold helmets. Right away, you can see there's nothing. I mean, there's a prot 2 fire prot 1, which is kind of rare. Well, kind of rare normally, but when we've got this happening, that is very uninteresting indeed. An Unbreaking 5 helmet. Yeah, you can get some very glitch stuff from doing this. And yeah, we're just going to chuck these down like that. And I'm going to build something called an autosave detector. In fact, before that, I could probably get the next thunderstorm started, and then I could build the autosave detector whilst waiting. This could all come together. There we go. And the reason I'm going to build an autosave detector over here is because every time the game saves, it unloads chunks that are outside your render distance. So instead of me having to press a button every time the game saves, I can build a machine that knows when the game is saved, and it will reactivate all of these repeaters and reload all the chunks back in again, creating even more lightning over there. So I shall start by removing this redstone and also the bridge. And then from down here, I'm going to change this bit of redstone to a torch. So now the machine is off and we can put a lever right here. So this is off. If I turn the light on, then I know the machine is on. And from there, I can start placing everything down that's going to make this work. And it looks like the thunderstorm's already started before I'm ready. Whether I can get it built before the storm ends remains to be seen. And it looks like I can get it done in time because it's pretty much just the same build twice on top of itself. Half of the build is in an unloaded chunk and half the build is in loaded chunks. That's how it detects if the game is auto-saved. I'll quickly check to see if all those rogue items have filtered out the machine. It looks like it's... Look at that, that's kind of a cool item. Anyway, it looks like we're now okay. So for what's left of this thunderstorm, I am going to run the machine to its full capacity. I turn the autosave detector on by flicking this, and the lightning begins striking. And this time when the game saves, it's just going to carry on. So this is going to be a non-stop thing of horses until the thunderstorm ends. Very nice indeed. Let's see if we get some cool items. The storm has ended. The last few stragglers have gone. There's plenty of boxes here. And I'll do a quick check through. This isn't actually the full amount of how many items you can get from one thunderstorm. It's only a small fraction. And if it's not prot 6 or above, I'm not even interested in it. That's a pretty good one. As you can see, it's protection 5. I'm not going to save it because we are going to get something much better than that. But, it's, you know, we're on the right track. We're making progress. Unbreaking 5, that's kind of cool. And projectile protection 7. That's just worth having for now. Like, I want a protection 8 and normal prot 8, but that's still very, very cool indeed. So it's a nice start, but now it's back to the machine to start a storm. And I'm just going to keep using this machine over and over again for loads and loads of days. And I'll save all the good loot and then show it to you at the end. Let's see what we can get down there. And that is another cycle of using this farm complete. And very early on, I already managed to get a protection 8 gold helmet. Even though in my testing, I never got one. I got one, yeah, pretty quickly this time. Look at it. Prot 4 and breaking 3, prot 4 aqua infinity. Fantastic. Better than these protection 7 ones. We have got these to sift through, these shulker boxes here. Not sure why bows are getting through. I'm guessing that maybe I ran out of cobblestone, but it doesn't matter because I don't need this system anymore. It was just purely to get the golden helmet. So right now, I'm just looking through these shulker boxes to see if there's any diamond ones, which there isn't. And that makes sense because they are super, super rare. You know, you need to have thousands and thousands to spawn to get one to drop. And then it's only a really, really tiny chance that it'll be a protection 6 one. It would take me weeks of using this farm all the time to get it. And if you guys want to see this video soon, we don't have time for that. So I am going to take this helmet. I think I'll take the projectile protection ones as well. I think they're just a cool little extra trophy. I'll leave everything else here. I don't really need... I mean, I suppose the shulker shells can come. And we can also get an illegal bow. Look, it's got power 2 and power 3 on it. Those don't stack though, unfortunately. So they're not really useful. They're just cool to look at. Whereas actually a protection 8 gold helmet actually gives you more protection than a prot 6 diamond helmet. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But it's an illegal item, so we might as well keep it. And since these fellas spawned on the slime blocks, if any diamond armor did fall, they would pick it up. So that's why I don't need this system anymore, because these guys would pick up a diamond helmet. Whereas with gold ones, they just keep swapping them and messing it up, which is why I couldn't use that. So maybe in the future, I will come back here to get that diamond helmet. It would be very cool to get it and then be able to make it netherite. But for now, I'm going to fly away from this area, and then I can return to 1.20. I've changed the spawn chunks so that they're no longer read-only as well. And here we are, back in the latest version. And this is home sweet home. I can finally grab another totem. And because I've been like Thor, controlling the weather, controlling lightning, I think it makes sense that in my Asgardian palace, I place my protection 8 gold helmet, as well as the projectile protection 7 ones. And then on top can go this illegal power 5 bow as well. I'm gonna grab a load of obsidian, plant a bunch of pumpkins, and begin building a portal-based hoglin farm right about here. I'm starting by building the base of the farm, which is going to cover this entire area. And the way it works is that it'll be a load of nether portals stacked on top of each other. I also need to grab the few pumpkins that I have, carve them, and turn them into jack-o'-lanterns. And the reason that I need these is that jack-o'-lanterns are a light source, so they stop all mobs from spawning except hoglins. And they're also a solid block, so mobs can spawn on top, which wouldn't work with glowstone or sea lanterns. But unfortunately, I've only got 9 of these, and to finish the project, I'm going to need 4,500. So that's the reason why I planted all of these, and I'm going to grab a bunch of bone meal so that I can grow the stems and get all of the pumpkins that I need. And I'm also going to properly repair this machine with hopper minecarts so that it properly collects them all up and puts them into this chest. And so whilst I wait until I can fill all 5 of these shulker boxes, I'm going to bone meal up the rest of these, gather up a bunch of wood, and let the machine gather the pumpkins. And now I have all of them, so I just need to carve them, craft the jack-o'-lanterns, gather up the other materials, and from there I can finish up the bottom layer. And with that done, I now need to repeat the same thing over and over again until the farm is absolutely massive. And whilst I build this, don't forget you can still get the SP77 beanies and signed Armor Trims poster on sp737.store. And this side of the build is completely done. It is absolutely massive. I now need to grab the materials to build the overworld side of the farm, which is thankfully much smaller. And that is everything. It looks like quite a lot, but realistically it's not too big of a build, so I think it'll all work out fine. Right about here is the spot that it needs to be, and I'm going to begin by placing down all of the chests and the hoppers. As you can imagine, it's a pretty big system to collect all of the leather that they drop, and I'm only going to collect some of the pork chops. Most of them I'm going to burn because I really don't need that much food. And this is just a nice simple item sorter underneath this spot that the hoglins will fall into. And this part is pretty cool because it is like an item staircase. The hitbox of each block is slightly lower than the one next to it. And now that the redstone's in, I can show you why this works. If I throw an item down there and trigger this tripwire hook, you can see that it pushes the item further and further down and eventually in, which in my opinion is very cool. And it means that I don't need water so the hoglins can die of fall damage. This is the lava so that I get cooked pork chops. And now I just need to build up this glass a little bit higher with 2 portals on top so that there's plenty of space for the hoglins. And it is done, which means it's now time for me to link up the portals. And doing that means lighting up every single one of these, which will require loads of flint and steel. So I've got a better idea. If I go to the bartering farm storage, I can use all of these fire charges that otherwise just probably wouldn't have a use. I'll also turn on the nether mob switch so that I don't have hoglins attacking me as I do this. Perfect, that's now all successfully done. And so now I can stand on this little AFK platform and I can get the 70,000 leather that I need. And that is going to be long enough, so I'll grab a load of shulker boxes and start filling them up with all of this leather. This right here is 38,000, and this is 73,000, which means Operation Get All the Leather is complete, and it's now time for me to collect every single feather. To do this, I'm going to need loads of eggs and a load of redstone items. I now have everything required, and I'm now about to build what is probably the only portal-based chicken farm that anyone's ever made. And that is because the portal doesn't really make the farm any more efficient, but it does make it easier for me to get all the chickens into one place so that I can use the looting effect. So yeah, there is a slight method to the madness, even if it is a little bit of a minor one. I'm going to make a bit of a platform here in front of the portal, just so that I can add the redstone. You see, I'm going to put redstone next to all of these target blocks, so that they activate all of these dispensers. And then I'll make a simple comparator clock, which works like this. All of them will constantly be turning on and off. But for that to work, this machine does need to be full to the brim of eggs, which means we're going to need a lot of storage and then a lot of chickens. You see, there's not going to be just one row of double chests. No, there's going to be 17. And then from up here, I need a load more hoppers with cauldrons on top. And these cauldrons are what are going to store the chickens inside. I put glass around the edges, otherwise the chickens will think they can jump out and that'll just cause more lag, which I don't really want. And finally, I need loads of dispensers facing downwards into the cauldrons. From here, I'm going to use all the eggs that I have to fill as many of the dispensers as I can, activated by observers, to create all of the chickens. Now, I still need loads of eggs to fill up everything else. I've only done this first row, but I don't have anywhere near enough, so I'll have to wait for these guys to grow up and lay me a load more eggs, and then I'll be able to gather them from these dispensers. In total, I need 8,640 eggs, and in total, I've got 360 chickens. They get about 800 eggs per day, so I should have all the eggs I need to fill the farm in 11 days. And the third item that I'm going to need, along with feathers and leather, is ink sacks. So whilst those chickens are at spawn doing the laying, I can be here, farming the squid. And I should probably also expand this storage because it is kind of filling up a bit too fast. And that can be done by building a simple item sorter that connects to a shulker box loader. And from here, I've just got to load this up with a few shulker boxes, and it's fully functional, but it doesn't look very nice. So I'll gather up a load of warped wart blocks and make it all look a lot better. And in the meantime, the chickens have been busy laying quite a few eggs, which means I can stock up the next row of droppers to get at least a few more chickens. I'll be back later to add in even more chickens, and in the meantime, I can go back to AFKing at the squid farm and see how well my new shulker box storage works. And look at that. It's working completely fine, but I do just need to point these two hoppers downwards so that the shulker boxes actually go into the chests. And the eggs are nicely going into here. And with that knowledge, I can grab a few extra shulker boxes to stock up this machine and get back to AFKing at this farm. A few more days have been and gone, and as you can see, we've got a nice decent amount of ink sacks, and eggs for that matter. But more importantly, I'd like to see if I can now fully stock up the chicken farm, because there is a decent amount of eggs here now, and so I reckon that I should now have enough. Perfect. And it is done. 1,440 chickens are in here ready and waiting, and they're going to stock all the chests for me. And I can't really add any more chickens because the game is already getting laggy enough as it is, so adding any more would just end up being a disaster. And according to my calculations, to get the 200,000 eggs that I need, it's going to take about 50 Minecraft days, so I might as well also be farming squid at the exact same time. So this is where I shall AFK. I'm pretty sure at this point I should have enough eggs, but we will go and find out. You can also see that I have a ridiculous amount of ink sacks here. Loads and loads in there and there. And I also moved loads and loads of shulker boxes up here, so yeah, we're never going to need to worry about ink again. And so alongside all of the leather, I also have all of the ink. Next I'll fly over here, and let's see what we're dealing with. We're clearly dealing with eggs. A lot of eggs. Almost all of them are done. Probably enough for what I need at the moment, because these chickens will constantly be replenishing stocks as I use this next farm. And so what I need to do is now light up this portal, break this one on the other side, and then build a new one above the nether. And what will happen with this is the machine will launch eggs through the portal, and then the eggs will smash on the netherrack, sometimes spawning a baby chick. And when that baby chick spawns, it'll come back through the portal, but instead it will connect to one that is all the way up here. And to explain the rest, I'm going to have to dip home and get a few more items, including 116 cobwebs, which I have nowhere near enough of. That's everything else I'll need. And so now I just need to find some sort of mine shaft so I can collect up loads and loads of cobwebs. Actually, it's probably going to be easiest if I just head to a stronghold, since the bookcase room will have lots of cobwebs. Still need another stack yet, and there's none left in the entire stronghold. But I do happen to know of another place I can go. The Infinibore Tunnel, which apparently has diamonds in it. And more importantly right now, connects to mine shafts with cobwebs. And with that, I've got them all. It's probably quicker for me to make a portal and travel home through the nether. And Operation Finish the Chicken Farm can now continue. And the reason I needed the cobwebs is because the chickens are going to fall through them, and it's going to take them 20 minutes to get from there down here. So by the time they get to the bottom, they'll be adults, and I'll be able to use my looting 3 sword to get loads of feathers, which just makes it a bit more efficient than taking them out some other way. And then from up here, I'm just going to build a little area of water that will push the chickens to that side if they fall out the portal this way. And I'll also get trapdoors down, as well as build up the rest of the portal. I am also going to need a boat in the middle, and I'm just going to throw some eggs, although I don't have any. I mean that quite loosely when I say I have no eggs, because I've got quite a few. There are also some in the shulker box, so I'll just grab a couple of stacks. And then these baby chicks will push any other chickens that come through outwards and into the water. And just to be safe, I'll also put a second one on top. And with that, at this point, the farm is now complete. If I flick this lever, the eggs will go through the portal, and chicks will come out the other side, slowly fall down. And in theory, I'll be able to take them out of the bottom, but I do need to build some sort of storage system. And what that will entail is a little item filter right here, so that I'll only be collecting up feathers. Then from down here, I'll build another shulker box loader. And it is done. Feathers will go into this shulker box, the shulker boxes will go into this chest, and the cooked chicken will go into this dropper, which will then go into the lava. As you can see, the chickens are still steadily falling, and I can stand here with my looting 3 sword and just keep swinging as the fully grown chickens land at the bottom. And I have now spent long enough taking out chickens. Most of the dispensers have run out of eggs. You can see there's the odd ones here and there, but that's because there's still chickens laying up there. So I'll switch this off and just look at this. So many feathers. Okay, that is perfect. I can drop all of these off into here and grab lava. You see, having all these chickens at spawn does kind of make my game a little bit laggy. And now that I definitely don't need this many, I can go ahead and remove the glass and place lava inside. That just gets rid of them. Then I can pick it back up and I can go all the way along, just doing this over and over again, which really will make things smoother. Now, I'm not going to get rid of every single chicken, because I never know when I might need thousands of eggs again. But most of the chickens have been removed, just leaving one row across here. And now that I've successfully got all the feathers, leather, and ink sacks, I can begin the next phase, which is actually to go exploring. Because to set up this farm, I need to find the perfect location. And that perfect location is going to be in an ancient city. Not this ancient city. I'm just here because this is where my warden disabler is, which has now been successfully activated. No, I'm going to attempt to find an ancient city that I've never been to before. And then once in that ancient city, I need to find a very specific chest, one that contains at least 2 notch apples, which is kind of rare. It's just like old times, isn't it? Me hunting for notch apples in ancient cities. I think this is a good spot, so I'll dig down and see if there's anything below. Nothing this time, unfortunately, except for a bit of lava. And some diamonds as well. And you know what? Whilst I'm here, I'm going to get these cobwebs, because you just never know when you might need them for a farm. There's even more of them down here. They're kind of more common than I realised. This is another good spot for digging down. And this time it does lead to an ancient city. Perfect. And so now the search can begin for a chest with 2 notch apples in it. Well, I've managed to find a chest with 1 apple. However, that just isn't quite good enough. And this one does have 2. Now, it's right by a shrieker, and I've got to check something. What I was saying is if they're in different chunks. Now, they are, which is very good news, because I can get rid of it, and it is not going to cause me any trouble. But this is a very important chest, and I'm going to dig out around it. Digging this out isn't strictly necessary, but it will make things easier, and it will make it look better as well. And so that is why I'm going to do it. And with that out of the way, the area is sufficiently prepped, which means I can create a portal, and then break a portal, and rebuild it above the nether. It all links fine, which is good news. That is going to be very important for the farm later, but right now I need to fly back, because I have a bit of a problem. Speaking of problems, I did get a warden spawn before, which was a bit tricky, but anyway, back to the point. I have a house that is already completely full of notch apples everywhere. Look, there's loads over here. There's another one upstairs because I ran out of space. And I even added loads more into this blackstone pyramid. So if I'm going to build a farm that is going to get me hundreds more notch apples, I need to build somewhere to put them. Yeah, I need to build some sort of place for them to go. And I'm thinking, what better place to do that than to build a notch apple factory right next to the bedrock one. I could have it right here so they're both opposite each other. And doing that will require me to dig out quite a decent area. Mission accomplished. I can also mine up this beacon, because next the factory is going to be built right here. Building it will require many items, especially white concrete, which I've got some of, but for the entire build, I'm going to need more than that. And that actually means I'm going to need more sand and gravel, so I'm going to begin by collecting that. I have some TNT, I have some gunpowder, and so I'll get my tools repaired and head out in search of a desert. And one has been found successfully, and so I'm going to get busy placing down the TNT and collecting up the sand. As you can see already, I've got a decent amount. And as you can see, the plan is working quite well. I have now run out of TNT. And once I fill this shulker box, I will have also run out of them too. And I'm hoping that means I also have enough to craft all of the needed items as well. By the way, how cool does the desert look? Very cool indeed. But anyway, my priority is now to fly back home. Then I can drop off all of the sand and travel through this massive ancient debris tunnel, collecting up all of the gravel. I really don't think there's an easier way to find gravel than going into a nether tunnel like this. And whilst I'm at it, I'll find a few misbits of ancient debris as well. Look at this, 2 pieces hiding under here. And I've also successfully filled up the first shulker box. And at this point, I'm happy with all the gravel that I've got, because at my bartering farm, I've also got a decent amount of it. I'm optimistic that this should just about all be enough. And whilst I'm here, I do also need a shulker box worth of gold blocks. So I'll AFK here and let the gold farm do its stuff. I know that I didn't get the full amount of gold that I said I would, but I think for now I've got enough because down in my chest room, I do have quite a few more. Next, I can start crafting all the needed concrete, and there's also lots of other items that I'm going to need that I'm going to get busy gathering up and not bore you with all the details. And as I put these into the shulker box, I've got every single item I need, except for all the gold blocks. I'm not sure if I have enough or not, but I guess time will tell later on. So to begin, I'm going to build a massive outline of the entire thing that's going to be in a big square. And with that all down, I'm just going to pop home to grab a load of grass blocks. And then I'm going to connect up this terrain so that the whole building is sat on flat ground. And that does also mean that the river will kind of need to be terraformed out, so it just kind of stops here. Although an underwater tunnel could be cool sometime to add. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that today. Right now, the priority is just to make it look kind of natural. So from here, yeah, that does work quite well. And then I also need to fill in all of this. And at the other side, I think I'm just going to fill in this entire thing so it's all flat. And as you can see, it makes a nice connection between the terrain. Next, I'm going to dig out the entire floor and replace it with the correct blocks. It is starting to come together. You can kind of see the areas being marked out. All of this is now just going to be polished deep slate in between the yellow and black markings, which I think are very factory-esque. I think I have the same ones in this factory as well. Yep, there you go. They're all along, although water spilled on top of some of them. I should probably fix that eventually. At least with these ones being made of wool, I won't be having that problem. I'm also going to put 5 anvils along here at the entrance, just as a cool little extra floor, and I can now start to build up the walls even more. It's starting to become a decent size. I thought I'd just show you the progress. You can see how it's beginning to take shape a little bit. And I'll also make it so that these pipes go all the way up to connect. I'll show you what I mean. Yeah, something like that, and that one there can go even higher. And on the inside, this is how it's starting to look. We're going to have these like gold tubes everywhere that make it look kind of industrial. We also need to get rid of this snow. It's always a problem, isn't it, in building in this biome. And these blocks over here, you might think they're gold blocks, but no, they're honey blocks. And they're going to have enchanted gold apples falling down them in like a waterfall. Kind of like I have with my bedrock fall. And another thing that's going to be quite prevalent on the interior is these tubes of yellow ooze. I don't know if ooze is the right word. Some sort of liquid like chemical. You'll see what I mean. They're just going to be like connected all around to make it look like it's being pumped all over the factory. And this is how the pipes look so far. Now, oh, it's starting to look really, really good. But before I can really bring them much higher, I now need to continue building up some walls. And there's also going to be a bit of an interior corridor up here, so this is why I need this diorite floor. And right now, I'm building the beginning of the second floor. It's starting to look pretty good from the outside. And up here, it's going to be a bit of a balcony where you can look down over the whole thing. And the way you get to the top is by going up these stairs. You can see these. Look at this. We've got a nice little corridor and area to look out. You can go down these stairs all the way to the bottom of the factory. It's looking very good indeed, but there needs to be more up there. Up at the top here, there's going to be a bit of a glass pane railing all the way around that just goes between the concrete. And it's also going to go around the outside as well. Now, right here is where the notch apple waterfall is going to be. And there's going to be another one over here. And because as I build this up, I'm going to be putting roofs over this and everything, I want to get the redstone in and get it all down so that I then don't really have to worry about it later. These signs are in place because they are going to stop this water from flowing all the way down. And these pistons here are ultimately what turn the machine on and off, which is why they're kind of important and why I'm doing them first. The droppers then go on top. The good thing is anything I build in one place, I can build it in all of the other places because it's just all symmetrical. And right here is going to be where the lever is that controls everything. So I'm going to go underneath and start adding the redstone down, although getting in there might be a bit of a challenge. Actually, maybe not. I just glide in like that. Okay, no problem at all. And to transport the signal upwards, I've got all these torches which fit just nicely between the gaps. So we'll bring that all the way up to the top. Then I can run a bit of redstone above it, attach the repeaters, and as you can see, this now extends the pistons. And that's all there is to it for the redstone side of things, but I do need to sort out the collection system at the bottom, which first involves blue ice that goes round here, to this block. And then I also need to fully enclose it in, like so. And I need something else. Soul sand, because that is what is going to make the water shoot. And I'll also get a sign right here. So the thing I'm missing is water. There is also a gap there which shouldn't be. I'm going to have to fix that. And the best way I can think to do that is to gracefully float down, land inside it, place a block there. There we go. Look at that. Brilliant. Absolutely perfect. And what I've just built here also needs to be built on the other side of these honey blocks. And also on this side as well. And now in order to sort the water, I'm going to quickly pop back home to grab some kelp, bone meal, and water. This bit's pretty simple. A bucket right there. You can see where it's going to flow to into a hopper, which is, yeah, just under there. And bone meal in the kelp will do the rest. And I'd also better put a gold block on top because I don't want that water to freeze. That would not be good. And I'll now repeat the whole process 3 more times. Perfect, that's all done, and the machine is ready. You can see it's kind of doing stuff, but that's because there's kelp in there. We don't want it to be doing it with kelp, do we? And there does also need to be a little on-off switch here, which I'll just use a lever for. So if I now flick that, it will turn the machine on because the pistons up there will have retracted. I'm just going to lay things up a little bit more up here so that no items can escape. And I think purely for demonstration purposes, I should chuck a stack of yellow concrete into each one. Obviously, I have to build the farm for it to be filled with notch apples. I don't have enough yet, so that's why I'm using concrete. Everything is loaded up. These should also be in subtraction mode. I don't know why they're not. And there should be a bit of redstone dust there. Okay, perfect. Now you can see it's pulsing. That's exactly what should happen. And then I simply come down here, flick this lever, and before you know it, I have my yellow concrete waterfall. It looks way more impressive when it's not chapels, but for now this will do. Because at the very least, I know the machine works. Let's turn it back off. And before I continue, I'm kind of worried that I'm going to run out of gold. I've got 25 there, and then 3 stacks in the shulker box. I don't think it will be enough, so a gold collection spree is going to be on the cards. Could just steal it from that mountain or that big palace. No, we need to get fresh gold. I can't keep taking it from other places. And for a start, I do know that my old gold farm generates it quite a bit, and I've been using it every now and again. So will there be any in here? Okay, there's a little bit. And a few ingots, better than nothing. Okay, I guess that's all we're getting. And of course, I can also get plenty more at the good old gold farm. I've got an extra few stacks, which I'm pretty confident should work out to be enough. So I'll take it back with me. Then I can grab back all of my items and get the entire exterior of this factory finished. And that is the entire exterior complete. And I have to say, it's looking pretty good. There is some snow around. I'm just going to get rid of all that. It's kind of annoying. And now I can do the last little bits of the interior because each of these 4 rooms is going to have something different in them. This first one's going to have a conveyor belt that's carrying gold blocks. So this is just going to be the frame. And then here there'll be iron trapdoors all the way along. And then some carpets on top. This is where the gold blocks that are getting pushed along are going to be. And I think if I can just grab some wool, I can put it in here just as the finishing touch. So yeah, you can see, oh, I've got a shulker box in the way. But you can see, yeah, it's just a nice little conveyor belt. Apparently, I forgot to do that bit of the roof in here. So I'll make sure to get it all patched up with white concrete. I should just realize that I forgot to do the ceilings of all these rooms. So let's just do it for all of them, because having these is a pretty important part. Now in this room, I'm going to be placing some oak logs and then a bunch of gold blocks, because inside a notch apple factory, you've got to have trees that are made of gold. And I had the exact right amount of blocks. That's just perfect. Also in all these gaps, we're going to have double chests. So those there and these here. In here, I'm going to have a bit of a lava machine that forges the gold, but I've run out of gold blocks now, so I didn't have the exact right amount at all. So I'm just going to temporarily steal them from the gold mountain. No, we need to get fresh gold. I can't keep taking it from other places. So it's going to look something like this, but then with lava inside. I'm going to put some concrete there so it doesn't flow everywhere. And there you have it. Just as exciting as you were hoping for. And in here, I'm going to have a machine that involves item frames. And item frames are something that I need a lot of that I've completely forgot about. Thankfully, I'm not really in short supply of them. I also need 1 or 2 other little items, such as an apple, a golden apple, an XP bottle, and also a notch apple. Yeah, we have a few spare ones there, don't we? And then I'm going to have 4 item frames along here. And it's going to kind of show the progression. You know, a normal apple becomes a golden apple, add a bit of XP, you get a notch apple. I think it looks kind of cool. And this entire building is just going to get covered with... Wait, why is there snow there? It's going to get covered with item frames, which will have notch apples in. I just need to get all those notch apples to fill it. We're also going to have a lot right here, and more on the other side. Above every chest, I'm going to add 2. And finally, a massive grid of them on this wall, although I need a few more. There we go. And other than fill all these up, the only thing left to do is to put a massive notch apple on the front. You know, so we know what the factory is. The bedrock factory has a piece of bedrock, so it definitely makes sense. And right here is where it's going to be. And there we have it. I think it looks pretty good. Looks like a notch apple anyway, which is the main thing. And now the phase of building the factory is complete, and it is time to build the farm so I can fill it up. And this entire farm is going to use a method known as chunk regenning. It's a bit like chunk save stating that I use for my bedrock farm, but it's a bit more complicated and a lot more broken. And this is why I needed so much leather, so much ink, and so many feathers, because we need to completely overload Minecraft's memory. And if I want to make a farm of it, I'm going to have to overload it loads and loads of times. So, let's go and start making the first book. And this book is then going to get turned into a book and quill. And in this, I'm going to paste loads of complex characters that will take up a lot of memory. Each page is going to be different and completely random. And by the time I'm done, this is a book that will take up a lot more memory than the average book. And that is all 100 pages done. I'll call it book 1 and sign it. And then I'm going to use these book and quills to duplicate it over and over again. And now I have to do this, so in total I have this for 27 different types of books. But I've realized something. I've remembered to get all the leather. I've remembered to get all the ink. I've remembered to get all of the feathers. But I forgot to get all the paper. I need a lot of sugarcane. You can see we've got a few sugar boxes, but we need so much more. So here is my master plan. I'm going to take all of these materials and head to spawn. And from here, I'm going to get the old sugarcane farm going again. And so whilst I'm busy working away writing these books, the sugarcane will be growing and being harvested for me. And there we have it. 27 books, all completely different. 2,700 pages pasted. Yeah, it took a few hours to do that. A bit longer than I expected. However, I didn't really get much sugarcane in that time, because every time you open a book to write in it, the game pauses, so there wasn't really anything happening. So yeah, I'm gonna have to come with a new plan. And that new plan is to get all the books a different way without crafting them from sugarcane. You see, when I spent hours and hours researching this entire thing, I for some reason thought that you craft a book and quill with leather, ink, and a feather, which is why I never even thought about getting the sugarcane and why I got all the leather. However, with this newfound knowledge, I have a new plan. You see, there are librarian villagers that will give you bookcases for emeralds. This one won't, but I'm sure I can find one that will. Yep, first try, 9 emeralds for 1 bookcase. And so now I shall get busy using the void trader to buy as many as I can. And that is enough of the trading. I used to get a decent amount of books from it. You can see I've got all these as well. And I'll gradually turn them back into books as I craft the book and quills. And with that said, I've got an entire shulker box of book 1. But I need an entire shulker box of every single one in here. And so I shall get busy crafting every single one of them. And that is the final shulker box. And I didn't do just 1 chest worth of all these shulker boxes. I didn't just do 2. No, I did 3, because the more I do, the more notch apples I'll get. And I still have a decent amount of leather, ink, feathers, but I've completely run out of paper, I've run out of books, so that's kind of the thing that's stopped me from doing even more. And for now, all of this will do. I'm not going to complain about that. And the machine that I'm going to use alongside these books is not actually that big, so I'm just going to grab a few blocks. I'll just grab 64, that's fine. I'm going to need hoppers, that's going to be the main thing I need. 2 stacks will do me, but we don't have that. So I'm going to have to dip into here. In fact, we don't have that many chests either, which is not good, because I will need quite a lot of chests as well. I guess I can worry about that later. That's all the hoppers. And everything else that I need, I already have, so I just have to grab it from the chests. This right here is everything, except for all the chests and shulker shells. I'll leave all the books behind and come back for them later, because I can't really carry everything. I've only got so much inventory space. Here's the nether portal, and here is the ancient city. Now, first things first, because we are going to be regenerating the chunk, sometimes skulk shriekers will appear. And I don't want any wardens spawning which will ruin this, so that is why I'm going to make a wool bridge. I can't really, there's no point me doing anything here. Like, I can place some wool here, you know, I can do whatever to this chunk, but it's not going to last because the chunk will regen and delete it all. And I need to make sure that I build this machine far enough away from the portal, so I'm going to build it 10 chunks in this direction. And this right here shall be the spot. The redstone's fairly simple, so I'll explain how it works when it's done. And up here are all the droppers that are going to contain the books. Now to add a load of hoppers on top, and it is done. That was pretty quick, wasn't it? And what this will do is each dropper will be full of each type of book. So book 1 will be here, book 2 will be here, book 3 will be here, and it will, when I press this button, each dropper will dispense 1 item into this shulker box. This shulker box will fill up and then go into this chest, and it'll have 1 of each book, all in different stacks. In fact, it's probably just better if I show you it in action. And so this is the moment where I need to transport all the books. Fantastic, that is all of them. I'll load the chests up with loads and loads and loads of shulker boxes. And let's say I want to fill 9 shulker boxes, each having 1 different book in them. Well, I just put 9 items into here, push this, and then it goes around. And as you can see, these have all now, well, they've all gone off. There is books. Well, trust me, it worked. It was too quick for me to show you. But if you look at it now, these are all different types of books. Look at it. 1 of every book, they're not in any specific order, are in there. And then it's happened again. And in the exact same thing, 1 of every book is in there. And any moment now, it'll do it again. And every single one of every book is in there. And that will happen for as many times as there is items in this dropper. Very, very simple. But you're probably wondering why. Why do I need this? Why do I need to split the books up like that instead of having them in shulker boxes like this? Well, it's all about how a computer processes data. And here we are in a random creative world. Right here, we have loads and loads of books, but they're all exactly the same book over and over again. They stack up. And here we have less books, but they're all different, so they don't stack up. So there's a lot less of them, but they're all different. Now, because these are all the same, Minecraft can compress them so they take up less memory. And because these are all different, Minecraft can't really compress them because there's nothing to merge together. And this is where chunk regenning comes in. If you make a chunk run out of memory, it will regenerate it back to as if it was brand new. For example, if I make this chunk completely full of diamond blocks, and I can quit the game, save it, and when I load it back in, it's still there. This is part of the game now. This is what the chunk is, okay? It is exactly like this. I can even break blocks as well if I want to. But if I now put a load of high data shulker boxes into a chest in the chunk, then it will require a lot more memory to process it. And you can see the memory that's used in the top right corner. And if I go into the launcher and make it so Minecraft can only use 1,000 megabytes, when the game loads in the chunk with the shulker boxes, it runs out of memory and you get this out of memory error. And then if you unload the chunk by going through another portal, that's the easiest way to do it. Minecraft sees it as an unreadable chunk and regenerates it back to how it would be in a brand new Minecraft world. And if you do this in a structure, Minecraft will regenerate the loot. So let's put it into practice. First things first, I need to get rid of these chickens because they're causing a bit of lag that might affect things or might make my game crash while I'm doing this, which I'd like to avoid if possible. Next, I need another 26 shulker boxes worth, so I've put that many items in and they can nicely be processed in a way. The only items I'll have in my inventory is the chest and then all of the shulker boxes. That's all of them done. And I've also set the render distance to 2 because once I lower the RAM, if I load this machine, it'll just regenerate all the chunks because there's a lot of data there. And I definitely don't want that to happen. So now I head through the portal. As you can see, there's no notch apples in there. There's just a bunch of loot. I'm going to put down a chest and then I'm going to close the game. Then I'll reload the game with just 1,000 megabytes of RAM. And I'm going to fill this chest up with all of these. And you can see in the top right, it's using about 90% of the memory. Once I go through this portal, the memory spiked up to 98%. The game is pretty much out of memory. It will have had the error. And so because that chunk's become unreadable, when I head back through, it should regenerate the chunk. It'll take a little bit to load. Now I know it's worked because it's taken quite a bit to load the chunk. And here we go. It's loaded in and it's worked. You can see it's actually changed the look of it as well a little bit because it's regenerated. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of this shrieker. I hope there's no others lurking around because we don't want any ones as I've said. And then 2 notch apples. Yes, we can put those into the ender chest. We can put another double chest down and go and get more shulker boxes because the shulker boxes have been deleted. And that is why we needed so many books. I've also increased Minecraft's memory back up before going over here. I can shove that in there, get it to run 35 times, and just rinse and repeat. We can keep doing this over and over again. So I'll quit Minecraft and give it less memory. Put the books in the chest. Head through the portal, and it's just rinse and repeat. Once again, the chunks regened. We've got the notch apples. It looks different another time. So yeah, it works absolutely perfectly. And I'm just going to keep doing this over and over again until I completely run out of books, which will get me a decent amount of notch apples. And this is the last lot of books that I have. So I'll regen the chunk one more time. And from doing it over and over again, I've ended up with a grand total of 76 notch apples. Not a bad little haul, especially when I put them with the other 33 I had in this shulker box. We've got absolutely loads. And if I was to get loads more sugarcane, I could use the farm a lot more and get hundreds more of the notch apples, which is good to know that that's an option. You can see I've got a few of these left because I didn't have a use for all of them. Not quite enough for one more batch. I can now fill up all of these item frames with the notch apples and also fill the droppers so that I have working notch apple waterfalls. Doesn't it look cool? I do have a sheep farm, but I don't have anywhere near enough. So it's time to gather up a load of materials so that I can build a sheep farm that gets me 5,000 wool per hour. And that is everything. And I think the hardest part is going to be getting all the sheep to go into it. So I'm going to build it at a spot where there's already a few sheep around. Such as right here. Because I can take these 2 sheep and already begin breeding them. And with that, they can now spend the rest of their days trapped in this little pen. And whilst I wait for them, I'm going to flatten off this area here. And then begin building the farm. It involves a redstone torch here with a bit of dust on top, but then a normal torch next to it for light. And then a trench dug all the way around the outside. Each corner needs a torch as well. This is just going to help the grass to spread. And then I can put blocks on top and a dispenser in the middle. And watch what happens. This is going to keep going until it burns out. And that is how the timing system for the farm works. Because when grass spreads, it will activate the torch and do that on and off thing again. Each dispenser gets 9 of the shears. And then I add glass on top of the grass. And then trapdoors around the outside. And what these are going to do is make it so that every sheep's hitbox will be touching the dispenser in some way. And that means that when the dispenser activates, it will shear all of the sheep in this little area. And before I can go any further now, I just need more sheep. So I'll keep breeding them and also drag any others across that are in the nearby area. Okay, that's not a sheep. You need to get out of here. Welcome, sheep, to your new home, or should I say prison. Now, a lot more breeding can happen, and I will end up with a lot more sheep. Let's get 6 of them on a lead. And then if I build upwards, it should, yep, pull them up over the fence. Don't die, sheep, please. Then across you come and into the hole. And before I can do the next step, I actually need to fly home, because I need a load of light blue dye to set all of the sheep to that color. Next, I'll place some glass on top, followed by more grass and pistons. They can quickly be extended by the push of a button. And that is the first section done. So now I just need to fill the 3 other spots, which should be quick and easy with the leads. It's kind of annoying because now the machine has started working, which I can't really have happen until the farm is complete. Because unless the sheep have wool, I can't dye them to be light blue. Anyway, no point worrying about that. Let's just get all the sheep in here in 3, 2, 1, and there we go. Now to add grass above all of the glass, followed by more glass and some water on the inside. It all flows very nicely to this spot where I can add a chest and a hopper on top. I'll put some glass around just in case, but that shouldn't be an issue. And the final thing I need to do is go back under here to put back that torch, and then the farm will get me lots and lots of wool. This singular module will get me 905 per hour, which is really, really great, but I need 10,000 light blue wool. So I'm going to get some extra wheat at my little nano crop farm, plus a bit of extra glass. And then I'll build a load more of the sheep shearing modules. And whilst I build those, if you play Minecraft Bedrock and would like to play as me, then you can play the SB737 skin pack with 14 different outfits. Just search SB737 on the marketplace, and it's this one right here. And it is done. The wool is coming through quite nicely, and to fill up all of the wool, I need a grand total of 6 shulker boxes. As you can see in here, I've already got quite a bit, so I'll transfer all of it across so that I'll then know exactly how much I have left to get. So far, I've got about half of what I need, and it's probably going to take me roughly half an hour to get the rest, so I'm going to dig into a hole, block myself in, and let the farm do its thing. And with that, I think I should have enough. Yep, I'm going to have more than enough from this. Every shulker box is now filled, and I've even got a load of light blue wool to spare. And with the first item now being out of the way, I can now move on to light blue concrete. I need 4 shulker boxes of it in total, and thanks to past projects, I've already got one of them, so there's just 3 to go. Which I can easily craft with all my sand and gravel, and then convert into concrete. And the next item on the list is lapis blocks. I do already have quite a few of them, but I need 2 shulker boxes worth in total, and to get all of those, I can use the void trader, because this guy right here will give me 1 lapis for every emerald that I have. At this point, I've traded every single emerald I brought, and this is what I've got. Which is not going to be enough, but seriously, with this guy, it is taking a while. And there is actually a way to build a farm to get lapis, so I think that might be a better option. Right here is a massive villager breeder, so I can get loads of villagers. And then they go into this space where I can then put them into one of these slots. Although a while ago I did have to murder all the villagers because they were making my infiniball lag down there, which you know I couldn't have. And I mainly used it last time to get me loads of maps, but I also used it to get lapis and redstone. So we have got a little bit of lapis here already, which is very good news, because at least it's nearly another 2 stacks of blocks. In order to set this up, I'm going to remove the water, add redstone blocks to open the trapdoors, and place these slabs in front. From there, I need an activator rail, which goes right here, followed by powered rails after. And in theory, that should do it. Yep, the villager goes in there and well, he died. Let's grab some healing and give these guys a bit more health. As I was saying, I push this button, they come through, I break and replace the brewing stand, he becomes a cleric, I trade with him to lock him in, and I push him through, and it just rinses and repeats. Fantastic. I'll also flick these levers to turn all of the breeders back on. And if I fill up each of these slots with 50 villagers, I'll be getting about 850 lapis per hour, which is not too shabby. I can also keep track of the villagers because every time I put one in, an iron nugget goes in, so I've already done 11. It really is a great system that I've got right here. And that is the first 50 in once I send him into his slot. And next, I simply move the activator rail 1 more block along, put the powered rail there, and continue repeating the same process until all 7 of these slots are filled. At this point, I've now switched off the breeder, and that is every single villager in. There's more like 80 in this final slot, so there's close to 400 here. And to do the next bit, I'm going to need to head home to grab some pistons. And I'll also turn off the mob switch whilst I'm at it, so that pillagers can spawn and the hero of the village farm will work. So first, I break all the rails, and then I need to push all of these redstone blocks away by pushing this button, and that then opens all the trapdoors, trapping the villagers. And then all of these stone slabs can be moved down, and they can be waterlogged. And that's it, the farm's complete. I just turn it on by flicking this lever, and pillagers will spawn at the bottom and be sent up this tube. Then at the top, I just keep hitting them, and if I get a pillager captain, then a raid will start, but it won't be able to spawn all of the attackers. Instead, they'll just instantly despawn on the terrain below. So that then gives me the hero of the village effect, and then all the villagers will throw redstone and lapis towards me as long as it's daytime, and all of those resources just get collected in the hoppers. So I'm going to stay here and let these guys give me everything that I need. A good few days have passed, and now that it's nighttime, they're not going to throw me anymore. So let's see what we're dealing with. I mean, it looks very promising at first glance. It might not end up being enough for every single block that I need, and that's every single one. I've almost in total got an entire shulker box worth, plus I've ended up with loads of redstone from it as well. And now that I'm back, if I pair all of this with the ones I have in this shulker box, I'm nearly there. I'm not far off at all. So I'm going to grab lots more emeralds from the raid farm and void trade for the rest of the lapis, because even though it is a bit more expensive, I do think that it is faster. That is all the lapis I now need, as you can clearly see. And next, I need 2 shulker boxes of obsidian, which I already have right here. Then there's black concrete, but I'm fresh out of gravel, so I'm making a trip to the nether to grab a load more. And more ancient debris while I'm at it as well. Then I can craft the concrete and convert it. And that is all the black, blue, cyan and grey concrete. Getting the snow is very, very quick and very, very easy. And with the snow sorted, the cold theme continues because I also need ice. And that's something I can get loads of right here. And if anybody asks where the ice caps are disappearing to, it's nothing to do with me. Next on the list is blue wool, followed by blue terracotta, then cyan wool, glazed terracotta, white wool, and then there's just these 10 remaining items, which can be obtained pretty easily. And since I'm also going to be building a secret treasure vault that is full to the brim of gold, I'm going to need to spend a bit of time here at the gold farm to get all 2,500 blocks that I need. And I'll be glad when Minecraft releases the auto crafter, so I don't have to do this manually. And at this point, I do now have enough gold blocks. In fact, I think I've got a few extra than I need. So let's not waste any time. Although I will take the time to quickly patch up this hole in the side of the mountain that happened last episode. And then I'm going to grab every single one of the materials for the giant diamond and fly to the spot where it's going to be built. And this diamond is so big that it's going to cover a massive area. So I'm going to have to remove quite a few trees. Which in a way is kind of handy because I think I will find all of the wood useful. And on top of a bit of deforestation, there is also a few bits of terrain that need removing as well. And just for perspective, this is the size of the total area that needs flattening. And I don't really need to fill in massive holes like this because there's going to be a diamond above it. It's just the terrain flattening that's the important bit. And I've already got nearly 5 stacks of wood, which is absolutely fantastic. So I'll put my best foot forward and get busy mining out. And that took way longer than I thought it would, but all of the terrain has now been cleared. And so now I will quickly mine up the beacon and fly back home to drop off all these items. Because not only did I end up with all the wood that you see here, but I also got everything in this shulker box. Just look at all of that. Definitely improves log supplies. I should just make a proper farm for it, like a TNT one, but anyway, worry about that some other time. I now need to grab another stack of food and repair my pickaxes at the gold farm. And with that out of the way, it is finally time to build the world's largest diamond in Minecraft. And the bottom starts right here with light blue concrete. Now, I've got loads of the needed blocks in my hotbar in the inventory. The rest is in the shulker boxes, and it's going to create... Basically, it's going to be a massive outline of where I've mined out. So I'm going to build that outline. I'm also going to get rid of a couple of these trees that are a little bit in my way. The trunks themselves aren't, but it's just this patch of leaves that's annoying me. You'll very quickly be able to see what it's going to look like. It's not just light blue wool. It's not just one block. It's a palette that looks completely random, but trust me, it'll work. That is the first edge done. And so now to bring it up this way to make it look a bit more like the shape of a diamond, not just a long blue line. And now I'm at the point where I'm building the top, and it's kind of starting to take shape. And I've also noticed this double tall grass is annoying to us. All this grass has got to go, but I can kind of just, as I'm going, place the blocks in the way. I don't actually know if this is meant to be like blue wool. I haven't looked at it properly, so I removed it. Also, we've got floating grass. Now, normally I'm okay with floating grass and floating flowers, you know, they're kind of cool. But not where I'm trying to build a diamond. There's loads more of them in the world, so no point keeping them anyway. Well, no point leaving them there. There is just a few more here. I can't see any others, so that should hopefully be all of them. Anyway, I'll get back to building the top. I always find it weird when you use something like prismarine in the build, because when you look closely at it, it looks weird, but when you zoom out, it looks really, really good. And that's just kind of what happens with these builds. All of it looks a bit weird, but when you zoom out, it'll look amazing. And I'm also now on the home straight. I'm just going to connect it back to the beginning, so it's like one long line along here. There we go. I've successfully made it back. It is looking pretty good, if you ask me. Or at the very least, it is the shape for diamond, which is the main thing, and means that I'm on the right track. And again, it's so weird that I'm placing down all these different types of blocks, and yet, yeah, it looks nothing like it down here, but from far away it look amazing. So once I fly up and see it with my Elytra, you know, it'll be fantastic. And I suppose that's how pixels in actual images work as well. When you zoom in, it doesn't look that great. But when you zoom out, it still looks kind of weird. But I am going to stick to the process and trust it, because I know when it's all done and it's a completely finished product, it'll end up looking absolutely fantastic. And these guys are seriously driving me crazy. I'm just going to get rid of them. 3 of them. Otherwise, I'm going to end up falling into this ravine or something stupid, which I don't really want to happen. It's just, you know what? I'm actually pretty good at taking them out. I've had enough practice. Just a well-timed crit, and they will be dealt with. Oh, no, you kidding me? Did more spawn? Oh, just one left. Okay, I just heard another one as I was throwing it away. Get out of here. I'm hoping that means no more spawn for the night. But I suppose time will tell with that one. And time did tell. Another one has spawned basically straight away. You're kidding me? I should just go to sleep. But the next video is going to be 8,000 days in hardcore. And I want to have plenty of time to do everything that I want to in that video, which is why I'm not sleeping. And since I'm planning to end the series at 10,000 days, by not sleeping, it will take me longer to reach that milestone. And at this point, I think I've made enough progress so that I can at least begin to see the diamond take shape. There's still a long way to go, but I'm glad to see that progress is good. Excuse me, Wolf. You may not be able to tell, but I'm trying. Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to build something. What a cooperative. Is it time? Is it time that SB gets another dog? I don't think I've got another pet dog for thousands and thousands of days. The one that actually is classed as a pet, not the one that's in the mob collection. I haven't got an actual pet dog. Yeah, it must be like 5,000 or 6,000 days since I got one. And I actually don't have any bones on me. I'm trying to think of the quickest way to get some. Probably just to go home and grab them, I think. Because I can go through this nether portal, and then this one, grab the bones from my chest room, and tame him. Come on, come on. There we go. We got him. And because we're building a massive diamond, that shall be his name. Yes. Diamond. And I can grab one of these cornflowers in order to make blue dye. From there, I'll make it into light blue, and that shall be the color of his collar. You can just sit right there, Diamond. And at this point, I need to stop getting distracted. This entire thing is gonna look amazing, and so I am going to get busy building. And this diamond is fully complete. And as we fly out from it, bit by bit, it looks better and better. And just look at it from up here. It is a massive diamond. It looks absolutely awesome. And it's right here underneath that I'm going to build the secret treasure vault. And in order to do that, I will need to dig a bit of a staircase. It's where the ravine is for part of it, which is great, because it means I'll have to do less digging. You see, there's a plan behind all this. It's actually just completely a coincidence. But I'm going to pretend that it was all intentional. Right here is the bottom level that needs digging out, and it's a fairly decent sized area. I should also get rid of lava by patching it up, and it will take me forever to dig all of this out if I'm just using this pickaxe. So let's do it properly and build a beacon, and that way the mining side of things will be a lot quicker. And as I'm digging out the full space, I am running into the issue that there's a lot of water under here that does need to be gotten rid of, and there's only really one way to do it, and that is by heading back home and grabbing a load of sponge. And whilst I'm here, I should also repair all of my tools as well. And with that, the big digging project can now begin. I've marked out this entire area which needs to be drained. I've built like a wall around it. Don't know why I had to build the diamond on top of so much water. It sounded like a good idea at the time, but now it's a bit annoying when it comes to digging the vault. Although with sponge, you can get rid of everything pretty quickly, which is very, very handy. That is all of the water in this area gone. And this is the size of the entire room. And I'm just going to grab a few sculk sensors so that I can use them to repair my shovel. And my pickaxe as well whilst I'm at it. Next, I just need to get busy digging, because this hole needs to be another 13 blocks deeper. And it is done. It actually turned out to be a way bigger project than I thought it was going to be. But at least I don't have to worry about it anymore. Let's chuck these in here. And now I'm going to head back to my base. Can I grab these as well? But yeah, I'm going to fly over here and head back towards my base. And on the way back, I might as well repair the pickaxe. You know, I've just walked into this room. It's flipping netherite just chilling in a chunker box here that I had no idea I had. You know you're rich when you can just do that with netherite and not even notice it. You know what that means? We can go and take these 9 ingots, turn them into a block, and add it into the beacon. Which, at first glance, you think, oh, the beacon's fully... Yeah, the beacon's fine. Until you look in there and it's... Oh, maybe it's not. Anyway, I need to get busy collecting all the materials for this treasure vault. Gold is one of the main things, which I already have. But it also requires other things, such as 2 shulker boxes of magma, which I've got nowhere near enough. Thankfully, that is something that's kind of easy to get hold of. Especially since I have a magma farm. Although, I don't think this is going to get me very, very far, is it? Maybe the bartering farm will be better. Okay, apparently they don't give you magma cream. I don't know why I thought that. I think they used to, but they don't anymore. So the next best thing I can do is head to one of these big magma patches and get busy mining it up. And with all those out the way, I next need a load of polished deep slate, which is very easy to craft. Next, it's deep slate brick stairs, deep slate tiles, and deep slate tile slabs. And another big part of the build is going to be skulk. Now, I don't quite have enough because I need an entire shulker box worth. But don't you worry, I'm SB737. I've got a farm for everything, and that includes a skulk farm. I simply flick this lever to turn it on, and then continuously break all the skulk. I reckon that ought to be enough. We can go under here, and as you can see, we can grab the skulk blocks from down below. Although how I get them into the shulker box might be a little tricky. If I do something like, yeah, look at that, that's working. And it means I can now move on to the next task. Thankfully, I got a bit more gold than I actually need in these shulker boxes, which is good because I need loads and loads of gold pressure plates. Red nether brick is another item, and at this point there is loads more blocks that are required, but I'm not going to go through getting every single one because they're all just kind of ones that I have in my chest room. Instead, I'll just gather them all up, and then I'll be able to get busy building the treasure vault. And I've now almost got every single item, apart from a few that weren't so straightforward to get. For example, I need 23 diamond blocks, and as you can see, I've just got 4. I'm sorry guys, but you know what this means. I won't mine this floor. Don't worry, it's safe. I think I can leave it. But the diamond beacon that's already very, very broken is going to have to be broken even more. So much so that the beam has now gone. Another item I need is 112 raw gold blocks, which I don't know if I'm going to have enough for. I'll start by mining up the ones that I currently have. And I'm hoping that the fortune makes it so that I have absolutely plenty. That's 22 down, about 90 to go. And so I reckon it's time for a bit of caving. And not just any old cave. No, we're not going to do it in a normal biome. That'll take forever. No, instead I will search underground in a mesa. Because these biomes have gold absolutely everywhere. And that should mean that I get everything that I need pretty quickly. Oh, would you look at that? I came for the gold, but stayed for the diamonds. And I believe that once I've mined this up, I should have enough. Let's have a look. We need 112 altogether. And so far I've got 103, so I'm almost there. I just need a few more blocks. And thankfully this cave is covered in them. That's more like it. And there's a portal here that I can go through to get back faster. I did also need some raw iron blocks, but I only need 6 of those. So that wasn't really an issue. Now, for the final item, I need a selection of amethyst clusters. And those are something I have an abundance of at my amethyst farm. I'm very carefully going to go through and break these. Now, what I've just got here are amethyst clusters. Now I just need the little ones, which are these here. This is all the large ones and all the clusters that I need. But on top of that, I need 19 medium and 14 small. That ought to do it. And now I don't want to use up any more time. Instead, it's time to get busy building. And so to begin with, the vast majority of this floor is going to be made out of magma. Although over time this might start to get a little bit annoying when I just want to walk around and I'm constantly getting burnt. So I'm going to fly up to this farm above the nether, because inside this chest we have quite a few fire resistance. And now I can build without having to worry about my feet getting burnt at all. And in between all the magma, we're going to have these red nether brick pathways, which is good because then the average player won't be constantly burning his feet. I have to say, all these colours together look quite good, don't they? And this is the part where I start to add all the precious loot to make it look really, really good. We've got gold, we've got emerald, and a lot of this magma is going to get covered because it's just going to be all over the room. This is what one of the general outlines will look like, and it'll just kind of be layered up like so. But before I do that, I'm going to build the frames of all the other ones around, just so I get a proper feel for everything. And at the same time, I can also build up these outer walls as well. As you can see, when it's next to the place gold, it actually starts to come together. And now it is definitely starting to look like more of a treasure vault. And I will continue to build all of this gold upwards, so the piles get bigger and bigger. And now all of it is down. Oh, just look at it. It's like the Cave of Wonders. And pretty much all that's left to do is build up these pillars, and eventually I'll add on a roof, but I'd also like right here to be like a cool emerald block throne. So I'll slowly build that upwards until when it's finished, it looks like that. Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking throne in a treasure room. And the other thing that needs doing is these walls need building upwards all the way around before the roof part can be added. And that is these walls just about done. It's really starting to look like a proper room now. And for an extra cool effect, I also added nether portals around the edge. 2 on that side and 2 on this side as well. Next, I'm gonna add some beams so that I can sort of start to connect everything up. Kind of like that. And with that all done, I can put the roof on top. And that is the entire roof done. And this is what my finished treasure vault looks like. I think it looks amazing. Look at all the gold. It's like a buried treasure, a secret room just full of gold. Absolutely amazing. And I will just build this up a little bit more so that it kind of merges with the terrain at the top. I'm also going to unsit Diamond because he is going to be the guard dog of this vault. You don't let anybody in except for me. I hope the instructions are clear. And one final time, we can look at this massive diamond. There it is. I built Minecraft's largest ever diamond. It all begins by capturing a new warden. Last time I did this, I almost died and used up way too many totems. So this time I have a new plan. And that is to build a warden transporter. All it requires to build is redstone, note blocks, pressure plates, and walls. And thankfully, I've got plenty of all of them. And next I'm going to fly up here and go along this blue ice highway to the place where I built the warden disabler. It's just some arrows right here that keep activating a shrieker. And a warden tries to spawn, but it's all spawn proofed. Next, I'm going to go to a nearby place where I know I can find skulk shriekers. And so this is the area of my block collection. And if I dig out of it, you can see that we're actually in a massive ancient city. And this was so that I could have reinforced deep slate in my block collection. And apparently there's diamonds, don't mind if I do. Next, I'm going to dig out an area around this shrieker, which means this wall right here has got to go. Right here, there's going to be a portal, and then one that links up to it above the nether. And I can actually remove this portal now because I'm going to rebuild it later. And this next bit is probably going to be the trickiest. I need to block up this side, add a pressure plate right here, and then absolutely loads of walls all the way to where I'm transporting the warden to. That's one side done, and the other side as well. Now, in order to lure the warden along, we're going to use note blocks. Every time it steps on a pressure plate, it activates the note block, and it will run to the next pressure plate and keep on going forward. I've placed down a massive row of pressure plates, and now I'm going to add in all the note blocks. Next, I can hook it up with redstone dust, and that means a section of the machine is now complete. But it will take the warden ages to walk all the way along here. And so now I'm going to start phase 2 of the machine, which is to make the warden angry. Because once he stands on this pressure plate, a piston will extend. And that will trap the warden from going backwards. From there, I'll make the warden angry, and he can chase me all the way along until he gets to the end. And something else that I've noticed is the warden that was in here just kept killing the panda over and over. So this is no longer going to be the warden's home. And instead, he's going to go right here. And it is now complete. If you ask me, it looks quite sinister and quite spooky. And tell you guys about the brand new poster I'm releasing for 8,000 days. Here it is. It looks pretty epic. It shows me getting bedrock, controlling lightning, doing a netherite farm, building factories, and I've signed every single one of them by hand. Here I am in the merch office, and you can get them framed as well if you want to. I worked really hard on this, so I hope that you guys like them, and they're available on sb737.store. There won't be many new posters released after this one, so don't miss your chance. And this is the portal that the warden's going to go through to end up in here. The walls will connect up nicely, the pressure plate will stop him from being able to go backwards, and the portal will send him into the cage. I'm going to stock up my inventory on totems, just in case anything goes wrong. And then it is time to do this. I'm going to successfully trap the warden without any mishaps. First things first, I turn on hitboxes. And then I keep activating a shrieker until the warden spawns. And this is where I have to act fast. I trap him with wool, like so, and I'm gonna name tag him. Next, I must build a portal. Now, right now, he can smell me, so I have to be careful about that. There we go, he's angry at me now, so now I move away. Just gotta let him calm down, and then I can finish the portal, break the blocks, and light it. Now, once they enter through here, that's when things are gonna get dangerous. There is my warden. And once he walks onto the pressure plate, he's gonna head for the note block. And just look at him go. He keeps standing on the pressure plates and heading for the next note block. And he's about to walk through the door. There we go. He's now trapped. It's time for the fun part. I'm gonna make him angry. Hello, good sir. Get punched in the face, Mr. Angry Man. And now he is gonna chase me. I'd better get a move on though, because he's a little bit faster than I'd like. I can just about see him in the background. And somehow, the plan is working absolutely perfectly. Here he comes. Okay, just go through the portal. It looks like he did. The door worked. All I know is I must not go through that. That would be a disaster. And in theory, when I head down here, we should have a warden. And then I can break this portal and add in the glass. And that is the first of the quests off the list. So next I can repair all of my items. And now I'm going to move on to the next project, which is to trap a camel and trap a sniffer. Now these are both going to go exactly where the warden was. The camel can be right here, and then the sniffer right next to it. And for the camel, I'm thinking of a combination of cyan wool, sandstone, and lime wool, and then red and green for the sniffer, because that kind of matches what the egg looks like. Thankfully for both of these mobs, I don't really need to travel far, because I've got a bunch of sniffers right here, and I can probably breed an extra one, like so, and then take one of the adults to its new home. In you go. We can put this on the front. And now to go and see my friends, the camels. Because once again, I have a massive home for them. This is a camel sanctuary. It's a bit grander than what I gave the sniffers. This guy is loving life up there, apparently. He just keeps twirling around. What's going on? But yeah, there's so many camels in here, so I'll just take this one over here. I will have to break down the door slightly to get him out. And he is also into his new home. That's it. You rest your aching legs. I've no idea where I'm going to add the armadillo and the breeze mod when they get added, but we'll worry about that later. I also got this sniffer egg from hatching before, so I might as well get it placed down there. And I need to repair this door that I broke. I can patch this up with a bit of glowstone with quartz slabs up here. And then this also needs fixing. And the pixel art on the floor can also be sorted. That's the drowned looking like normal again. This wither face also needs sorting. And finally, a few of them over here need to be fixed. And there we go. Another room is repaired. And I'll now focus my efforts on sorting this area down here out, which means going out in search of an Elder Guardian. A monument has been found up ahead, so before I get closer and get mining fatigue, I'm going to make sure I have every needed item to get the Guardian in the nether. In fact, let's grab some milk as well, because we're on a mushroom island, so there's going to be mushrooms around here. Mushrooms that will give me infinite milk. And now the plan is simple. I dig down, build a portal, and keep drinking milk to get rid of the fatigue. Then I simply remove all of the water by placing cobblestone. Could have used sponge, but okay, well, we've got mining fatigue again. Yeah, I could have used sponge, but I didn't really need to, did I? Next, in theory, yep, I can light it, and before I leave, I get sent through, I will leave. And I do need this guy to enter, but I probably have to get the portal ready on the other side first, which means breaking this one and going above the nether to build another one. One of these minecarts should, in theory, pick him up, and if that all goes to plan, I should be able to transport him home. But I should probably just focus on trying to get him in the portal first. All right, okay, never mind. That was surprisingly very easy, barely an inconvenience. And now I can head through, and he's in a minecart. Okay, that was also very easy. The track is going to be built in this direction and then go that way. At this point, I feel like a bit of an expert at transporting guardians. And before I can transfer him across, I need to repair the wither cage and also the Elder Guardian's home. Which shouldn't be too tricky, but I do just need to grab a few different materials. And one of those materials is glowstone, something I've completely run out of. Shouldn't be too much of a problem though, because it's something that I can easily trade for at the Void Trader. And now I can quickly make the needed repairs, which does also include putting the iron golem back that died, which is what caused the wither to be able to escape. And this time I'm going to be extra safe and have two of them. In case one dies, I've got another one ready and waiting. And for the rest of this, it's just a case of placing a load of blocks to fix everything. For the wither's actual cage, I'm going to create something a little bit stronger than the glass that I've used before. Because a few months ago, I built a farm that lets me get unlimited bedrock. So I'm going to use some of it to make a much stronger cage for the wither. So the way it will work is there's going to be bedrock below this stone cutter. And then there's going to be bedrock on each side as well. This will stop the wither from being able to move to the side. And it won't be able to blow this bedrock up. And then it's the exact same thing up here. The stone cutter and the grindstone will just hold it in place so that it'll shoot the iron golems on the other side. But even if it breaks them through an explosion, it won't be able to escape and cause all the destruction that it did last time. So let's begin by summoning this guy in. Then I need to add water above it, and I need to get out of here before the explosion occurs. You'll see it shouldn't break anything because of the water. There we go. And the skulls are trying to attack the wardens, but they are just getting flung up by the water. And I must just carefully remove the water, put back the glass, and we've done it. And as you can see from the wither's hitbox, it physically cannot get out of this column because it cannot move up and down or break the bedrock, which is why it's permanently trapped and won't be able to cause the same destruction as before. And now to do the needed repairs on the Elder Guardian's home, which thankfully is quite a bit easier. Next, I'm going to build a little portal right here, which in theory is where the Elder Guardian's going to come through. If everything goes to plan, that is. I'm also going to plant down a bit more kelp around. And the real question is, does this portal connect up to it? Yep, indeed it does. I'll also get busy repairing all of these walls that got ruined. Look at this, loads and loads of destruction, but it can all be easily fixed. And with that activator rail right here, I think I'm now ready to send this guy off. And away he goes. He just got the mining fatigue in the last second. Of course he did. But yeah, the minecart track is pretty standard and pretty simple. He goes over the little bridge, round the bend, and once he gets to the activator rail, he's ejected and gone through. And if everything has gone to plan, we've got an Elder Guardian. So close to being in the water. Come on, get in there. I'll even push it in. Oh, are you in the minecart still? There we go. Oh, I just sent him back. No! I know I couldn't get through an entire video without there being at least one mishap. But now I have an Elder Guardian in the nether to deal with. Managed to contain him into this space. He's in the minecart. He's going down there. He's gone in the portal. This time I'm going to break said portal. And he's in. And down here is now fully complete. I just need to get a brand new brown panda for this slot, which I can get from down here. And my collection of every single mob in Minecraft is now fully fixed and complete. And now for the next of my projects, I need to fix my netherite beacon. It's missing a grand total of 45 blocks, which is roughly 23 stacks of ancient debris. But don't worry, because a few episodes ago, I built a netherite farm. And this farm allows me to find and collect ancient debris at super fast speeds. And I've already ransacked the majority of it. However, if I go 3,000 blocks in this direction, you'll see that there's still plenty more ancient debris to be collected. Will I be able to get the 23 stacks that I need? I'm not sure. But it has revealed a serious amount of them, so I'm remaining optimistic. And that is stack number 1, which means there's just 23 to go. And I've also realised it's probably quite a bit faster if I use scaffolding to get up to the ancient debris, because then I can be placing it as I'm climbing. When I'm done, I can just swoop on down, break the bottom, and do it all over again. And with that, I've reached stack number 2, as well as the 3rd one, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Which means we're halfway there. Look at this, that's 15 stacks obtained, and now 20. We're starting to get very, very close. At this point, I've now reached 25 stacks, which is more than I need. And okay, well, don't get hit by lava recipe. But yeah, whilst it is more than I need, I am now at the end of the tunnel. So I might as well just keep going till the very end and see what I finish up with. And the issue with walking into lava is you do end up having to eat quite a lot of food. And that is that. All this ancient debris has been obtained. And now I can make the long flight back home and set all of this ancient debris off smelting. And whilst I wait, the other thing I'm going to need to go with it is a lot of gold. And gold is something I have a little bit of. Do I have enough? I need 23 stacks. Yeah, no, nowhere near. So I'll place this shulker box here and feed the hoppers into it so that it fills up. Then I'll drop down this hole to set this chunk loader off. A chunk loader which was apparently broken because it was connecting to this portal. Let's try that again. Nah, there's too many portals in my world. It's definitely broken. We'll just have to leave it. And instead, I'll fly to the gold farm. Let that get me loads of ingots. And I can be busy crafting as all of the gold funnels in. And once I turn all of these to ingots, I'll have enough. Still a little bit of time left on all of this to be fully smelted, but whilst I wait, I can be making the ingots, which is such a satisfying thing to do. Next, I can make all the blocks, so I'm just too short, but there's still more netherite scrap coming through, don't worry. That's every single block. And now for the satisfying part where I can place them all down. And once again, have a full netherite beacon. Although this does make the diamond one look very sad, we should probably fix that too. And fix it I shall. Thanks to all the different diamond farms I have, it shouldn't be too tricky. So I'll make some preparations and then get ready to start that project. This is the Infinibore that I built. As you can see, it's a massive machine. It's very, very powerful. And it's very, very useful because it blew up a hole for me that is tens of thousands of blocks long. And I'm going to use it again, but this time, instead of extending the tunnel longer than it already is, because that would just make the machine take, I don't know, hours and hours of real life time. Instead, I'm going to make it so that it blows up a layer lower so I can get all the diamonds down here. It will mean that I'll have a little bit more lava to contend with, but the spawn chance of diamonds is higher when you're lower down in the world. I mean, look at this already. I'm seeing quite a few diamonds that I missed. Now, in order to lower it, I need to remove all these pieces of glass and change it so that they're all 1 block lower. Getting rid of them all is kind of going to be annoying. I'm going to have to kind of jump between each one, making sure that I don't break any of these tripwires, otherwise it will be a disaster. And that's every single piece of glass removed. Now, if I grab a bunch of temporary blocks, I can place down all of these. And that's all of that sorted. And so next, I need to make it so that these vines are all the way fully grown, which I could just wait for them to grow, or I could add temporary dirt blocks and place the vines on the front. The hardest part is done because that is all of the dirt placed down, which means now I only need to place all of the vines. And I found a pretty nice way of doing it, because every time I go down, I just do a little vine clutch and I'm taking no fall damage. Okay, I took some there. But generally speaking, it looks pretty elegant. And with that all done, I now just need to remove all of the dirt. And now, the modified version of my Infinibore is ready. Before activating it, I will just nip home to drop off all of these items and to repair my elytra. And with that, there's nothing more I can do. Let's land right here, put 10 nuggets into this dropper and fly to this platform. And in the meantime, the Infinibore will be working. The machine has now finished running, and so it is now time for me to see if it worked. And by the looks of things, the plan was a massive success, because we have loads of new diamonds on the ground, plus diamond ores in the floor. I've lowered the render distance, and I'm going to go back and forth, chunk by chunk and row by row, collecting up every single diamond that I see, whilst also being careful to make sure I spot the ores that are in the floor. I've already reached my first stack, and there's still thousands of blocks to go. But I'll just get busy and keep collecting. And with that, I have a grand total of 100 diamonds. And now I've got 200, and we're on day 8,000. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? Another milestone in hardcore Minecraft checked off the list. 300 diamonds have now also been obtained, and now make that 400. And yes, I have gone a little bit over time, but I can't end this video until that diamond beacon is fully repaired. 500 diamonds means I'm a third of the way to a full beacon. And now I've reached the end of the tunnel that I've made, with a grand total of 980 diamonds, plus a ridiculous amount of diamond ore. They seem to be much easier to find at this lower level, because I have so many of them. And so now I'm going to fly all the way back and use a load of this diamond ore to repair this pathway. Will I have enough? I don't know, but I am optimistic, and we will soon find out. Perfect. I've successfully replenished all of it. And doesn't it look great? I'm so glad it's fixed. And then I can grab a load of buttons and spawn proof the entire pathway. And there we go. That should be more than enough. And now for the moment of truth. How many diamond blocks have we got? And will we end up having enough? At this point, I'm going to have to mine up all the diamond ores. And that gets me another 31 blocks, which is still not quite enough. But don't worry, because I do happen to have another massive diamond farm. So I'll go ahead and start using it. Just watch all the TNT blow up, and then I'll see how many diamonds I can get. At this point, I think I now have enough. And now I can finally fix the diamond beacon in my world. And that is another of the projects complete. Now, one of the things that I also said needs repairing is quite a big build. Yes, because it's my end hub. The issue that happened here, first of all, was that I had some rogue dragons that flew around and broke stuff like the tower that's meant to be in the middle here. And when I made the bedrock farm in 1.12, these chunks regenerated to endstone. So I have to remove all of this. That's probably going to be the hardest part, because I'll have to get busy mining to make sure every single piece is gone. But I have a way to speed things up a little bit. I'm not going to use TNT, because that'll end up destroying loads of other stuff. No, instead, I shall build a beacon. Technically, I've already built a full netherite beacon, a full diamond one, and I'm about to build a full iron one, even though I've got loads of them already. But it does seem to be a bit of a recurring theme throughout this video, doesn't it? Me building beacons. Anyway, that aside, I can put this on top. I can do this and get haste 2, which will really help speed things up in how fast I can mine away at this endstone island. Because when I'm mining this much endstone, we're talking thousands, probably tens of thousands of endstone. Saving that fraction of a second per block because of the haste 2 really will add up over time. So look at this. Oh, I'm motoring away. This is fantastic. As you can see, there's a lot of layers for me to get through. So I'm going to get very, very busy mining away. And that is the first layer completely mined away, which means there's just about 20 more to go. This is quite the project. I've knocked quite a few layers off from here, and I've had to keep using my sculk to repair my pickaxe, as there really is a lot of blocks to mine, but we're making good progress. I'm past halfway with mining everything up, as you can see, and it's definitely taken a lot of mining, but my pickaxe is nearly broke, and I have run out of sculk to repair it. Thankfully, however, and I don't know why I didn't use this earlier, I have an XP Enderman farm that I can use to get everything I need to repair the pick and continue with the massive mining project. And I am now getting so close, as you can see, to being done. The layers are getting smaller and smaller, and that means a lot of the blocks I'm now mining are over the void. And I definitely think this part of the project is probably the hardest and most time-consuming bit. Building it and repairing it all should really not take that long. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the final... Well, we're pretty much on the final layer. There's a few blocks underneath, but they don't count. In fact, if I mine them away like this, now we are... now we are on the final layer. And unfortunately, because I'm so far down, I'm not even getting the haste effect from the beacon, which is annoying, because it's really slowing down the mining process. Thankfully, I've only just lost the haste. And if I fly upwards for a little bit and go back down, I can use it for another 15 seconds. And there we have it. Mission accomplished. Doesn't it look much better? And I can also mine up the entire beacon. However, there is one unfortunate side effect of breaking it over the void, and that is that most of the blocks are going to be lost. Not really an issue because I have an iron farm that's always working, getting me loads of it. So I'm not going to complain. I could have ended up collecting a lot more endstone, but I feel like I've already got plenty of it anyway. But we've got a decent amount to add to the collection. And now I'm going to grab the materials I need to fix this. One of them is going to be yellow concrete, although it is going to need to be a bit more than what I just pulled out of that chest. So let's go and craft some and convert it. And with that sorted, I can begin repairing this entire yellow concrete pathway that goes round the outside. And I did have a little bit of a worry that I was going to run out of obsidian as I repaired this, but it looks like we have got just about enough, as you can see. In fact, we've probably got about 30 pieces to spare. And now for the next part of this that's going to be repaired, I'm going to need stone slabs. These slabs will go along here like so. Connected to the slabs is going to be glass, and as you can see, it's going to have this effect all the way up. It was just a lot easier to build it starting from the bottom rather than trying to go downwards. Yeah, that was going to be too much hard work. And I am going to end up needing more obsidian to repair stuff like that and that over there. But with just 42 pieces, and as far as I'm aware, I've got none left at home. The only other bits of obsidian I do have are what's in this ender chest. So you can see quite a lot, probably enough for the project, but I have another plan. At some point, make a new obsidian farm down there, but that's not going to happen at the moment. Instead, I can admire the 8,000 days posters. It might just be one of my favorite ones. I really like the effect. It's quite different to the others. Anyway, let's not get distracted from the main plan. I unfortunately used up all my obsidian on this massive hoglin farm, which is insane. It gets me so much leather and so much food. But now whenever I need obsidian, yeah, I'm a little bit short on it. So instead, I'm going to try the bartering farm because piglins drop obsidian, and I don't think I've ever collected the obsidian from them. In the massive sorting system, I do have a chest that does pick it up, as you can see, all the way at the end. Moment of truth, have we got much? You know what? That's a great amount. That's fantastic, actually. I didn't expect it to be that much. It's, oh, we've got loads of crying obsidian as well. Wow, that's fantastic. That probably gets me out of a bit of trouble and means I am going to be able to continue this build and fix my end hub. I'm also going to need quite a bit of magenta glass to finish off the build as well. Not really got that much, though. But at least regarding the purple stained glass that I'll need, I've got plenty. And it's also very cheap to craft all the glass as well. So I'll start by copying these little rings that you see all the way around here and slowly add bigger and bigger ones as I get higher. And that is about as much as I can do without going and getting the blocks needed now for the main bulk of the island. There's about 29 different types, and I've written a list which contains each one. And I'm going to need shulker boxes to make sure I can hold all of the items. Just gotta turn these into stairs, and I now have every single item, or I have the ability to make every single item with the stone cutter, which is why I'm bringing it. So first things first, I can start with these slabs and then put the smooth stone on top, followed by andesite and also sea lanterns. The platform's now starting to take shape, and I just need to get a bit more stone down to cover up the gaps below. And then I can continue with the next layer, which is going to be grey wool. Next is obsidian on top. And you can see I'm just kind of following the pattern of the rest of the platform, which is kind of handy when you have half of it missing, isn't it? Because it means I've got to do a lot less thinking for myself. And now for another 2 layers of grey concrete, which leads me to this level where I can start to fill in the floor. And with the floor now done, I'm not going to finish this building and fix it. Instead, I'm going to work on the platforms next to it and get those finished. It's definitely getting there. I'm just adding decorations onto this pathway. And as you can see, I've connected everywhere up as well. So now the pathways are in there. And really all it leaves for the bit that was destroyed by the end regenerating is for me to do that building, which has a quarter missing, and that one, which has pretty much half of it gone. So I'll pretty much just do it up layer by layer. And the good thing is, it's pretty easy to see what needs to be done because it's fairly symmetrical and it's fairly, well, it's exactly the same as that one over there. So I don't really have to remember anything. Instead, I just need to keep building it up. And with that, this building is fixed and it's looking pretty good. So now it's time for the bigger project, which is to fix this one. And this building is now also completely fixed. And that means the main bulk of this end hub is repaired. But you can see up here is also kind of broken. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. Get this platform up here nicely fixed. Well, that is assuming that I have enough concrete to do that. I am starting to run out. After this, I am on my last stack. It looks like going home for a quick restock is going to be necessary. There we go. All of that should definitely do it. I'm pretty much just repeating what I did before to change it from powder to concrete. There we go. And now this floating platform can properly be fixed. There we go. And just fixing that platform really does make the entire end hub look so much better. I know it's not exactly how it was before because there was a big tube and decorations around. But for me, this end hub is in a pretty good position where it looks like it's fixed. You know, when you're walking around it, it doesn't look anywhere near as broken as it used to, which is kind of my goal. Yes, there are little bits here and there, which I do need to repair, and I do need to actually build these cages, which I've never actually done. I still don't know what to put inside them. But the reason I'm not going to do all of it in this episode is because I want to add some extra farms into the end, into this hub. Like, there's going to be some farms here, and I want to add them and then build around them and fix it. If I fix it all and then have to break it to add the farm, that's just counterproductive. So that's my thinking behind only fixing some of the stuff. Plus, I'm way past 8,000 days. I don't want to spend too long on the end hub. And there are still 1 or 2 other things that I'd like to fix in this episode before it's over. And I'd say the main one is this melon and pumpkin farm because it used to work really well. But yeah, right now, it is just a bit broken. So let's sort it out. I think placing a chest here, yeah, will send everything back to the beginning, which is a good start. It's going to break loads of melons, but I haven't got anything here to pick them up, so that needs solving. And the way I'll do that is by coming here to grab iron. How much iron have we got, by the way? I should turn some of it into blocks, shouldn't I? Oh, this entire thing is just full to the brim. Why is the chickens up there? So many questions. Anyway, let's just let's just craft some into blocks, and then at least we have a little bit more space. And then I can go ahead and craft a few hopper minecarts. So I'm making 6 of each, and then 1 by 1 I can make them. Next, I'm going to need rails. You'd think I'd need to go home to get rails, but as you can see, I've got some lying around. This really doesn't need to be here. Maybe this should be destroyed sometime. In an episode where I'm fixing everything, it would make sense to destroy it, but honestly, I reckon I could spend 1,000 days on sorting things out in this world, couldn't I? There really is a ridiculous amount of stuff that can be done. Now, we do have an issue that over here, we seem to be missing a slime block. I'm not sure why or where I nicked it from. All I know is that it must have been from somewhere. Also, as you can see, the machine has taken it upon itself to set off. So I am going to take this opportunity to place down the hopper minecarts by doing this, picking it back out, and it's just rinse and repeat with all 6 of them until they're all placed. And then I just need to see if I can steal a slime block from anywhere. Is there any unused machines that I could take one from? At first glance, it doesn't seem like it, but this machine has broken, so I could just steal the slime block from there and then go home and get another one, if it makes sense. So it doesn't really... It was kind of a waste of time. The only reason I've done it this way is because then I can have that on and I can place this iron bar here and it should pick it up, all being well. Look at that. And then when they get to the hopper minecarts, they should pull them along. And there we go. This bit is now fixed. Fantastic. And I'm going to flick this down so that it stays fixed as well. And now for the next part. To head all the way back home and grab that one singular slime block that I need. And that can be added to here. And if I just work my way across... Okay, did I not turn off this machine? How are you moving by yourself again? I'm sure I flicked the lever that stops that. I did, but it must be able to do one more iteration. Let's flick this lever down ahead of time, so then that's not an issue. And then back to what I was doing, making this move. There we go, we did it. But it's also missing the hopper minecart, so if I'm really quick, I might be able to fly all the way over here. And I mean really, really quick, actually. Look at the speed that it's coming. But yeah, I'm going to craft them all, which I've just about managed to do. And then we go rail, hop a minecart, break it, and repeat that a load of times. I actually think there's a slight chance that I might just pull it off, or I might, well, maybe not quite. I don't think for all of them anyway. But 4 out of 6 isn't bad. Is it just put these in the hopper? Thankfully not. And next time the machine sets off, it will pick up these ones as well. So that will be fixed. Although I'll tell you what won't be fixed. All of the farmland that needs tilling and then seeds added into it. This section actually isn't too bad for it, but this part is terrible. It's just this edge along here that needs tilling and then the seeds planting. And then this pumpkin and melon farm is as good as new. And it's technically actually a bone meal farm because these hoppers have composters underneath that will be creating bone meal, and they flow through here and into the tree farm. So yeah, all in all, I'd say it's a pretty good system. It's just this one on the end that is the actual pumpkin farm. As you can see, there's pumpkins galore along there, and then they go into these 2 chests. I'll also get this bamboo farm fixed and running again. I think I can do that just by maybe breaking this. Nope, that didn't work. What about by breaking this? Okay, neither. I thought a block update might get it moving, but apparently not. Instead, I'm going to have to actually mine things up and move them across like that. I believe that should fix it now. Yep, there you go. You can see it's moving again. It's taking out all of the bamboo. And it's loading it into this chest down here, which, as you can see, is pretty full. But I have got shulker boxes, which I can fill up so that I have a bit more space in the chest. Same thing with the sugarcane farm. Let's also fix that and set it off. And you know what? I think I'm pretty happy with what I've achieved in this video. Is my world completely perfect? Everything fixed and made as beautiful as it could be? No, not quite, but I'd need a lot more time to do that, and I will do another video where I fix even more stuff and make things look better. Also, I should probably, in a video where it was all about fixing stuff and making it look nice, I shouldn't be leaving off with a destroyed nether hub. I reckon I'll just get rid of all this. The portal can stay. I don't really mind that being there. In fact, we should disable it though, just in case. I don't want anything going through or trying to connect and going near the warden, you know, all that stuff. So we'll just break it. And yeah, there's other stuff that I could have fixed, like the teleporter. My aquarium needs finishing still. But I'd say I just don't really have time. We spent way too long getting the beacons, getting all the bosses caught. Like, we did so much in one episode, really, didn't we? When you consider that last time it took me 500 days to build my end hub, I think it's understandable that within 100 days, I wasn't able to completely fix it in time. So I'll get the repairs down in here that need to be done. It's just literally those couple of slabs here. And then I need to go into my ender chest, grab my flint and steel, light that up, and the nether hub is fixed as well. Well, we fixed another thing. We may have broken it, but we also fixed it. And thank you so much for watching. Make sure to go and check out the posters at sp737.store. I've signed them all.